And welcome to the High School League of Legends AU and NZ Championship. My name's Shaker Steric Sosipenko, joined by Bradley Teagan Seymour. We have been off your screens, we disappeared for a while, but I'm glad to say we're back after a month.
I mean, we enjoyed the time off. I was watching Worlds. I don't know about you.
I was
That's
too,
some
but
incredible gameplay to be viewing.
Doesn't mean I enjoyed
Great
the time.
results so far. Not so much for us, of course, but just in general, the resurgence of NA and European teams. Can they win it? I sure hope so.
That's such a bad start. I'm so sad about Oceania, but anyway,
there was no way to get past it.
Yeah, unfortunately not. But we're back here in the seat for our high school players. We went through. We started with New Zealand on the first day, and that's Rangitoto College. We got to see their journey starting in Bracket A.
Undefeated, and every single victory was decisive. They didn't falter at any point. I went through the whole day thinking Somnus is a massive player. He's incredible, and he's going to be the key player for them. But everyone else stepped up. Across the board from NZ, there wasn't a single player who I can look at and say, this guy was the weak link.
If you didn't tune in for the qualifiers, it was just a dominant step forward here for New Zealand. And for Rangitoto College, against Blacktown Boys High School, they made it look so simple. And of course, their first time here in the studio today to kind of prove that once again.
I think, just as a side note, it's wonderful that they get to come and play in the studio in the finals.
Yep.
What an experience for these young kids. These are high school kids. They're all young, under 18, I'd assume. And to get flown out of the country for these players, for Western Australia, across the country.
International flight. Let's not forget.
That's massive for them. I can't imagine how stressed they would be coming into this, because what an experience for them so far, but also just the amount of stress on them, that's surely nothing they've really become accustomed to yet.
Of course, representing the New Zealand region, but on the other side, we have Western Australia. When I say the other side, I mean literally here, as they came through in similar results.
Oh, gosh. But yes, also undefeated. However, not as decisive. The Melbourne High School game came down to one big team fight, but credit to the Western Australian team. They stuck in the game the whole time, played exceptionally well as a team, fought through it, then quick 2-0 over Glenunga in the semi-finals.
Yep.
Another undefeated team, both Western Australia and New Zealand coming through pretty cleanly.
Arguably on that point as well, for Western Australia, when they came through, I love the designer choice there. When they came through in the best of three, they looked a whole lot dominant, and it just shows the growth here from the high school teams. These are the teams that are trying to get up to that level of OCS one day. They're still a little bit too young. They're still kind of going through school. And Teagan, you said always prioritize school, always put your schoolwork first. But today, they're going to show us that League of Legends is the thing that matters.
That was setting confidence. All right, we were talking to the players before we came onto broadcast, sort of hyping them up, and this guy just bringing it all out, spilling it onto the broadcast. Thanks a lot.
No worries, you didn't answer my question. Let's move forward. Today, we have two teams going head-to-head. This is our final. This is what it all comes down to. And for Rangitoto College and Willetton Senior High School, these are your rosters.
So for New Zealand, I'm going to sort of gloss over this because that is the exact roster they played in the quarters and semis, unless I'm mistaken, from top to bottom. Willetton High School. That looks like a lot of out-of-position players to me.
Let's go through this, because DeClowns was the mid laner. He was the Galio player to watch. Vision was the jungler, who is now mid. Peanut and Mushroom Zach are in the same position. But Giraffe coming through, so the one person you're not seeing there is Willow Andy, and he was the top laner, so that is a big swap to bring out in the first game of this best of 5.
Giraffe coming in as a sub, and I think it would be quite fair to say that Western Australia coming in as the underdogs, not by a large margin, but New Zealand were just so dominant coming into this series. So throwing a curveball straight away, mixing up your roster, I know New Zealand would have prepped for the previous roster, of course. That's pretty smart strategy, assuming they can pull it off.
I was coming into this ready to talk about Vision taking on White Palette, but now that matchup totally out of the window. It still matters as we jump straight into Champ Select. Is Giraffe, is the substitute going to impact them here in Game 1? And what step forward can WA make?
Well, before we even talk about the players in their new roles, keep in mind, we saw Somnus and Bon Appetito lane swap in one of their games as well.
That is true.
So don't think it's just set in stone that they're all going where they've signed up to go. Now, as we get into the draft, this is 8.20, so it is one patch ahead of Worlds, but most of the World strategy would still apply here, so you're going to see things like Aatrox, things like Urgot, Kai'Sa, Akali, all of these extremely strong champions. That being said, the teams have also shown that they're willing to go to the pocket picks, to whatever they're more comfortable on as well.
And I was about to say, throughout the qualifying stage, when we went through quarterfinals, when we went through semi-finals, both of these teams were banning away comforts. You can already see the Zyra take it away from Willetton Senior High School. The response is Galio, which of course in the mid lane, we did see to clowns off.
Surely Kai'Sa is the final ban here as well from Willetton Senior High School. DK, when he got Kai'Sa in the semis, in the quarters, looked unstoppable. Instead, it's Lucian. This is questionable to me. Now, if you don't first pick Kai'Sa, I can't expect Rangitoto to let it fall through.
There's been so many 80 carry bans here, Tegan. On that point, Peanut, in the very final game of the semi-finals, picked up this Kai'Sa and dominated through. They're not looking at the priority right now for Willetton Senior High School. They've left it open in place of Morgana.
They also let Urgot go through as well. Another huge pick instantly locked in by New Zealand. And it just springs questions to me. Obviously, you've come into this with a plan in mind. You have a very set draft that works for the roles you've chosen, the players you've put in their specific places.
Yep.
But is it worth giving up Kai'Sa, Urgot, or in this situation, Tahm Kench? Maybe the Kai'Sa isn't the priority. Maybe both teams here, because this is the new Ezreal on 8.20, are planning around picking him.
We've mentioned a bit before how the world's priority has changed, but we're not going to go into that a little bit too much. Here it's about comfort, it's about priority for yourself. And even though the Urgot is in high contention, Rangitoto picked that one away. They pair it with the Tahm Kench, which will not be going in the same lane. But on the other side, Varus Sion, which has been a big pick for Bon Appetito to counter and take it away, but this time it will be the Kai'Sa.
Now we see the Kai'Sa got let a lot further through than I expected. I was thinking coming into this, Kai'Sa's first pick ban would. All I can remember going back to New Zealand's run through to this game is how dominant DK looked on the champion.
Yeah.
That being said, if you can exploit it in lane, which you can do with Varus Morgana, suddenly it's not so daunting. It's not such a difficult thing to play around.
So many dangerous lanes, T-Gun. Every single matchup here of New Zealand, we said every lane has won. We repeated it over and over. And even though it was a Kai'Sa, even though going up against something like a Varus and a Morgana, WA cannot let their guard down because there has been so many successful moments of NZ.
Well, you want to talk about every lane winning, and we did. And we have to give credit in that situation to the jungle. Whenever the jungle does something well, it doesn't look like he's winning his own lane. It looks like the whole team is winning. Whenever the jungle sort of falls apart, it looks like the whole team is losing. So jungle's really the core of the team. So in this situation, White Palette, his pick is going to be extremely important, as will Girafo's, and neither team has picked their jungle, assuming it's not Sion jungle, by the way.
Yes, no. Okay,
a little bit of an assumption.
No, you're assuming that Sion's going to go on the top side.
And we see jungle beds coming through as well. Nocturne gone, Kane gone. Now, you have a couple things still there. Xin Zhao jumps out as a big one. Sejuani as well.
That's
we
special
saw
of White Palette.
So for me, I would take Sejuani here for Rangitoto. Give White Palette his comfort champion. He was extremely aggressive on it, controlling the pace of the game here.
Or not.
Nidalee.
So, game number 2 of the semi-finals. This was to seal the deal for Rangitoto College. They bring this out in game 1. The Nidalee slam locked in there for White Palette. And now for Girafo, he's got to take that matchup. He does have the counter pick, but what are you going to do?
That's a hard thing to answer. Nidalee is not really a meta jungler right now. I don't think that's too far-fetched to say. So if I'm him, yep, the Xin Zhao locked in instantly. I was going to say I would go towards Xin Zhao, like I said before, Sejuani, these core standard safe junglers that have risen through the meta because they're just solid, like, safe strength. They don't have to worry about anything. On the other side, Aatrox has been left open to the final pick, and it's still a great pick. The only worry here is it's forced to go mid. You assume the Urgot's going top. And again, I assume, again, Aurelia, because Sion.
Wow.
Naturally, never mind, they go to Jax.
So keep your eyes and ears out, because in one of the games we saw Somnus pick the gangplank, lane swap onto his opponents. That was against New South Wales in Blackdown Boys High School. Somnus has lane swap before, so we could see this Urgot mid, or we could see Somnus take this right into the mid lane matchup.
Well, you see him very clearly enthralled in the conversation right now, maybe talking about that potential lane swap. Jax does fine into both counterparts here, so it's really up to where he wants to be comfortable, where he wants to try and carry from, if you will. Jax, a bit out of left field there. I was completely sold on the Aatrox. It would have rounded out Rangitoto's sort of team comp nicely, but
definitely would have.
Already you see it's a mix of comfort and strength for both New Zealand and Western Australia.
I think we've jumbled the meta a little bit here, but that's what I love. That's what I love about both of these teams. Not afraid to take in what they're comfortable with. And we come back to the patch 8.20. We haven't seen the Ezreal. We don't need to look at that just yet here in Game 1. A best-of-5 series. And as we jump into that Game 1, jungler's again the focus, even though Girafo is the sub. It's a Xin Zhao versing a Nidalee. Those early level skirmishes are going to be hype.
I would say it's more important because he's a sub.
Yep.
Whenever you come in as a sub, the enemy is going to look to exploit you. It doesn't matter how great you are at your role, it doesn't matter how impactful you're planning to be. Their whole game plan is now exploit the sub. Surely they won't be as practiced with him, as used to his playstyle. So you have to expect New Zealand are going to invade at every chance they get, punish him wherever they can, and we know that is how White Palette enjoys playing.
See if the preparation from WA has paid off, because you have to expect as well that they've tested this method. They've tested the roster change. The Clowns has gone up into mid lane. Vision has moved from jungle to mid, and the substitute has come into the jungle position. Now to pull your sub in, not to say mid or top, but into the jungle on a team that felt like New Zealand, was very reliant on the jungle, is a big call here in such an important final for both of these teams.
I absolutely agree. I'm really worried because, like I said, White Palette loves being aggressive in these games. Coming in against a sub, that sub now has to be so just communicative in terms of what he needs from his team, how he can get active, how he can start exploiting players on the other team, what lanes he's going through, where he even starts comes to question.
Yeah.
And for Western Australia, they already sort of threw the gauntlet and said, we want to win early. They picked some aggressive lanes. They also let scaling champions go through on the side of New Zealand. But now, with the jungle change going in to the Nidalee, you really have to double down and say, yes, we really want to win early and support your jungle.
And at the start of the high school nationals, back when we were in the play-in stage to get towards this final, we were looking at White Palette as a Sejuani player, and then suddenly in the very last game of the semi-finals, he whips out this Nidalee and does just as well. I think it was another dominant performance, and they just had this team comp to go with it with the double 80 carries. We jump into game number 1 here of the high school finals. This is it. This is where you make your statement here. And for these guys, their first time in the studio, also the first time in a high-pressure situation in this best-of-5.
Like I said before, it's just scary for me. Looking at Willetton, looking
scary
at
for you.
Girafo.
Scary for them, Tiga.
For sure. It's worse for them.
Oh, I'm glad to know.
But Girafo coming into this as a sub has to be really on point with his early game. And now, I know you don't like talking about early game pathing. It's kind of a boring thing. But for me, it's everything. Where he starts the game, where he's pathing, I guarantee that's all White Palette is thinking about. Nidalee isn't going to want to go into the lanes and try and gank early on. White Palette's plan here, start off early, farm as fast as you can, and steal things away from Girafo. I mean, don't let him get comfortable.
This blue buff's going to go down pretty quick as well with the help of DK. You get that final second skin proc off, and White Palette, that blue is gone. A little bit slower on the side of Girafo. Actually gets it at the same time, so a little bit surprising. Where will Girafo go, and can he outread White Palette on this first try?
Yet to be seen. Oh. Mid lane, Somnus already hurting in mid lane. Vision also quite low. Not what you would expect. Again, the roles being so jumbled up for Western Australia, maybe even catching New Zealand off guard. Somnus, you'd expect him to be dominating this lane just because that's his main role. He's just, in my eyes, the stronger player. But instead, Vision punishing him early on.
Somnus walks up. He just got level 2. He'll take it with the counter-strike, but the trade ends up being okay. Somnus will have to walk back. The corrupting potion now gone for both of these mid laners. White Palette looks to make a move.
And like we said before, White Palette loves being aggressive. Level 2 on the Nidalee, already sharking around on Vision, trying to find his way in there. Vision paying the respect, gets out of dodge, makes sure he's sitting back a little bit further than he was before. And on the side of Girafo, it's business as usual. You're just farming. You're not really impacting lanes yet. You'd expect the Xin Zhao to impact faster than the Nidalee.
Saw the impact of the play trying to come through. They saw the jungler. There's a quick trade from Vision, but Somnus now hitting level 3 finds more than the Aurelia. As I was saying before, Girafo spotted out by that ward, so you could see White Palette now having that information on the bottom side of the jungle.
Again, invading early on. Setting up the tone for him is, let's split the map. I want your bottom half of the jungle. I want to be aggressive. This will lead into having an easier path to ganking the mid lane, ganking the bottom lane, and dictating pace down there, while Girafo doesn't even know this is happening. There's been no vision on White Palette. There's no idea of where he is, and Girafo, you're going to see in a second, going to walk into the bot side of this jungle and just be quite sad when everything's gone.
And when you're bursting in Italy, you have to think that one step ahead. Vertical jungling, if it comes down to that. Girafo's going to find out now, but it's a little bit too late. Krugs are gone too. White Palette escapes with everything. And that start for White Palette, he'll go back towards his own jungle and find himself up.
And it all comes down to how aggressive are you willing to be. Girafo now, he needs to make something happen to compensate for that. Going bot, great option. You have the Morgana to try and catch someone. Lemon Lord already low, half health. If they were to catch him, that's an easy kill to follow up on there because you can't go on DK. Whenever you have a Tahm Kench, you just have to focus the support. Going for the ADC is not a viable option, but instead, Girafo backing off, so back to sort of a neutral lane down here with Rangitoto just a little careful down there. You see, they don't really want to try and brawl.
Also relying on Mushroom Zac to land that stun. Doesn't have enough mana. You saw one go wide before, so it'll pretty much end that play. White Palette is a level up, and I still feel like this jungle is going to be where we sit in this game one, T-Gun. Back now, that's going to be a huge back there for White Palette. Like I said, level 4, and see which lane he impacts, because at the moment, Vision, he's pulled back in this mid lane, and Somnus now getting the respect he deserves.
Somnus also just manipulating the wave here. Vision was pushing the whole time before. Instead, Somnus sits back, just takes a CS where he's able to, builds up a wave, so now he can go ward out the sides, make sure he knows where Girafo is, and then start paying respect.
And he backed early as well, got the Doran's ring. This is Girafo trying to come into the mid lane, but a good dodge there by Somnus. Gets a two-man stun, spear lands on the Vision, the jump in. Not good here for WA. Over the wall, the flash is there. It's Somnus to get first blood. The follow-up comes through, and Somnus finds two.
The double kill, no trade kill there for Willetton is a massive disaster. You saw them go in aggressively. Somnus knew White Palette was there to back him up. 2 kills early on. One onto Jax, the other onto Nidalee, who was already building up a lead. Spells disaster for Western Australia.
You saw the reaction there from Somnus as soon as the audacious charge came through from Girafo. It was the response of the leap strike from Somnus. That reaction time, that individual play got them ahead, and now mid lane's in a lot of trouble. And if you thought the jungle was behind as we watch this one again, it's even worse now.
The way Somnus plays this is just exquisite. He jumps away, trying to bait them in further. They do come in. White Palette is there to help straight away. Vision tries to flash away, but gets burnt down. And Somnus survives by the skin of his teeth. And the Nidalee heal, by the way. What a huge play. Just linking up between Somnus and White Palette.
And it's going to happen again. Vision gets solo killed there by Somnus. It's getting out of control.
Now, unfortunately for Western Australia, this is the type of lane that just gets out of control. Once you are 1 kill up, it is so easy to dictate the pace. You have so much mobility on either side this would happen. But now Somnus, with that advantage, is going to punish Vision. And the question is now sent to Western Australia. How do you get your mid laner out of this situation?
And you even look at the top side of the map, Bon Appetit is able to walk down when the lane is at a freeze just to get more vision on the blue buff. The priority's there. And again, 2 levels up this time for White Palette.
The priority's there, but then you give Sion the back. He has teleport. But what I want to see from him is an ultimate into the mid lane or an ultimate into the bot lane. You need to start getting active across the map. The mid lane right now is a real struggle spot for Willetton of Sydney High School. You need to find somewhere to go. Get active with your team, because sitting there in these neutral lanes, just extending laning phase, isn't doing you any good right now.
20 CS behind in the mid lane. Top lane, pretty stable for now, so hope there for Willetton High School. But in the jungle, continues to skyrocket ahead. There is no first item for White Palette just yet, but you can see the damage is already outputting. And with bottom lane being so stable for the Kai'Sa, it's good news across the map.
This is more than a happy situation for DK and Lemon Lord. Their team is already winning. There is no need for them to take risks. You take these small trades as the Tahm Kench, you'd be quite happy. But again, you just want to sit there. Let the Kai'Sa farm up, wait till you have 1, 2 items, and that's where you start getting jumpy. Until then, Somnus is already well ahead. White Palette has been dictating the pace of the game for the jungle. You don't need to take the risks in those off lanes. You don't need to try and get that early kill down there. You don't need to go to top and maybe chase down this Sion with Bon Appetito. business as usual everywhere but mid lane should be the name of the game for them.
Giraffe has to be careful as well. Lacking in vision, but finally being able to catch up. There is hope for this Xin, but trades where is the question. White Palette is back here again, T-Gun. Stolen away by the Nidalee. The Jewel will come across once more, but White Palette dodging away. There's the ult. Fear Beyond Death is getting ready. One more hit necessary on Giraffe. He survives. Bon Appetito now trying to put his damage down. The ultimate expires. Somnus back in. It's Vision with no mana and nowhere to go. Looks like this is really a bit of way too much. DK will get the kill.
That was all damage control there, but T-Clowns is still being ran down. And Vision dies, but through no fault of his own. That was teammates coming to the rescue of Giraffe. White Palette threw down the gauntlet there, tried to take the fight. Bon Appetito first to the fight, with Clowns slowly on up,
no.
Now invading even more.
He missed the pounce here. Will the Blast Cone get him out? Only just.
Still fine, still aggressive as expected. But Visions falls down again, trying to help his teammates, and like I said, they need to get him out of that lane.
Remember
Sitting there,
DK.
it's just going to get worse.
T-Gun, DK hasn't used his ultimate, and that actually goes into a minion. Ignite drop down, expecting that the Killer Instinct would come through. DK just out of range, still has ulti, but not enough mana.
Now, the thought process there from Mushroom Zach, it was the right play. Walk in, deny Lemon Lord the chance to eat Peanut and pretty much kill him for sure.
Yeah.
But instead, finds he has bitten off more than he can chew. Suddenly, he has to flash away. No stopwatch there available to sort of sit there in the ultimate, and across the board once again, New Zealand taking control.
Through that one kill, even DK finds himself accelerated. Peanut has merely a long sword. Oh. You can see DK wants to take this play, and he's looking at it ambitiously.
He's sitting there in a 1v2 and thinking to himself, can I ult in?
I probably
can. I just go in?
Both summoners available as well, and DK, this is the confidence we've seen out of through the quarterfinals and the semifinals to get to this point. He will take the aggressive plays. You've seen Uzi on the world stage. Now come back to Australia, and New Zealand, and look at DK.
I wouldn't go that far with a comparison just yet.
I'm excited about our players, Tegan. Let me have it.
You can be excited about the future. You do that all OCS as well.
Yeah, I do.
But I'm not going to make a comparison to Uzi. I think that's a bit disingenuous to both parties.
Fair enough. First turret though, T-Gun. You know what's real at the moment? More gold going over the side to Rangitoto College, and that is a 4K gold lead amounting at 10 minutes in the game.
And more specifically, going over to Somnus. Going over to Jax, everyone knows is a hyperscaler. He's only going to get stronger from this point onwards. And if you're Western Australia looking down at the Jax as he's scaling, you have to be thinking the whole time, how do we stop this? How do we start fights?
He can take a 1v2 as well. So at the moment, if Giraffe tries to come to the mid lane, that is a Trinity Force Jax at 10 minutes. That is what dreams are made of, T-Gun. The ultimate actually comes through. Flanking this one. Peanut will take the Black Shield. It's 3 versus 2. Giraffe right on the Tahm Kench. Maybe bitten off a little bit too much. One more hit on Giraffe, but the ultimate negates it away. DK over-ambitious, and Willetton finally get their play.
Too aggressive from Rangitoto. Probably feeling themselves a bit, knowing they're in a huge lead, and you see DK and Lemonlord trying to make that 2v2 play they shouldn't be. Willetton react perfectly. Easy 2 kills for them.
The Clown's in a bit of trouble here. Now, Fear Beyond Death is available. There's going to be one more hit. Remember, it takes a bit of damage to get done anyway. Bon Appetito not going to pop it out just yet, but there's enough damage to threaten the Clown.
Not enough damage yet. Sion is one of the more tanky top laners, but look at Somnus. He's ready to go. They're ready to go under the tower as well, and that's going to get stopped.
Unstoppable Onslaught. The flash actually blocks the Clowns. He'll still get away. The decimating smash down. Somnus will jump back in, confident he can take it. Ignite drop.
Keep going.
Somnus is going to take this. The flash is there, still away. Decimating smash, shut down by Peanut, and the whole of Rangitoto College are a bit too ballsy at the moment.
Yeah, there's a fine line between confident aggression and arrogant aggression. And right now, this is arrogance from the Rangitoto players. They are thinking, we are so far ahead, I can dive you under your tier 2, almost the inhibitor turret, before you've even taken the outer. It's just a bit too much.
At least with the pressure, you'll see Clowns with no flash, but look at the response. Willetton already got the turret down the bottom side. One will be traded by Rangitoto on the top side, but opening mid here for Willetton, this will get him to a very good point. And the gold lead now, not as crucial as it was before.
Previously, they were down 4,000 gold. They've already brought it back to 2,000, a little bit lower than that, actually. And a game that looked like it was spiraling out of control. A game where it looked like they were just completely out of it. Suddenly, they're bringing it back slowly, steadily. 2 kills on Peanut means they have someone to build around. You can start throwing Black Shield on Varus, play around him, make sure he essentially plays as a Kai'Sa would, as your hyper carry.
And the way this game was going before, we wouldn't see the traded objectives. Rift Herald for Ocean Drake. Willetton happy to take the Ocean Drake here. They will not get to the top side in time, so Rangitoto may be able to break down another turret here with that neutral objective.
I think that's the right choice by them to not even bother trying to contest Rift Herald there. From their perspective, you look at the game right now and you say, yes, we've brought back some control. We're still in this game, make no mistake about that. But if you get Rift Herald there, as Western Australia, you can't really do anything with it. You've already broken the mid and the bottom outer turrets. You're never going to be able to group up at top without conceding something massive across the map. So going to Dragon and trading objectives there is a pretty smart strategy. However, now you have to find out where the Rift Herald goes for Rangitoto.
Well, the Clowns might be in a bit of trouble again. This time the ultimate used, but there's going to be no need for that flash to be burnt. So this could be another turret going down. Rangitoto, 3-man strong down here, but look at the rotation from Willetton.
Remember, the Rift Herald is on Tahm Kench as well, so unless it doesn't get dropped, the people rotating here means Tahm Kench can potentially go
Vision
mid.
is going in as well. That's a decimating smash that misses. They want to make sure Lemon Lord will not drop the Rift Herald. That's cheeky.
He's earned that. He dodged every ability thrown at him just then. Fancy feet got him out of that situation.
But it's not going to happen forever. The way Willetton are going, starting to get more of these picks in the side lane. You can see that White Pallet just picked up the Scuttle Up. Peanut locks down the mid lead. Will it turn into a trade? Pallet wants to flash away. Not even going to use the cone. In fact, tries to snipe away Peanut. Willetton looking for more picks. Could be the end of it. Decimating smash down once again. Vision will not find the stun up, nor the Vanguard's edge.
It's all fizzle, but it's top lane.
Somnus gets solo killed by Girafo. Oh, sorry, 2-man. They actually take the fight, and immediately Willetton turn back on. Rangitoto have 3 members left. They lose one on the top side. They find the binding. Vanguard's edge is there, and everyone is getting deleted. Disarmed is the Urgot, but he will not be able to escape with Vision finding his second, and this inner's going down.
This is exactly how Willetton came through the quarters and the semis. They weren't the strongest in lane, but when it came to mid-game, they played exquisitely as a team, which is what we're seeing here. Girafo somehow in a side lane against a Fed Jax wins a 1v1. Somnus again diving under the turret, isn't able to get it done. Then in the 4v4, where they still aren't that strong, they still shouldn't be significantly stronger than Rangitoto, are able to take the mid-second tier. Here we see Somnus goes for the dive. Girafo already so low. Somnus is now like, oh, you've already used your dashes, you've used everything, I can go back in. But that's not how it works.
Oh, what a flash there from Giraffe. I'm sorry, Tegan, continue. That was it. That was actually insanity.
I don't think anyone could have explained it better than you just did.
Thank you.
Giraffe with a massive outplay to get the kill there.
And it's moments like this, White Pallet missing pounds, it's the small things that Rangitoto looking so confident coming into this game. We said that New Zealand were definitely the favourites. Everything's flipped on its head. A couple of mistakes in the early game, and now contesting like this, Girafo was so far behind, but forcing out White Pallet from his jungle as the Rift Herald forced bot.
Rift Herald dropped bot, and this isn't the Rift Herald Rangitoto would have wanted, but they will definitely get at least one tower with it. However, Willetton have already rotated down. They can start to neutralize here. Aurelia needs to look to get down to bot lane, because if you do not start moving there, this is a bit too late here. Suddenly, the second tier is in trouble as well.
Remember, no TP. Decimating Smash is going to be a little bit late. Can't be stopped anyway. 4 versus 5. The Rift Herald is not going to get the inner, but Willetton hold on. They clear the wave, and Rangitoto want to stick to the play for now.
Now, one thing we haven't mentioned is just how well Rangitoto can poke and put down damage, especially because of the Nidalee. You're throwing spears, the Kai'Sa W is coming out, just trying to poke people down, but it's just not enough right now.
Oh, locked down. Peanut wants to take the play. Guess who's with him? Oh,
wow.
The damage. Willetton again, finding these picks, and suddenly Peanut is 4-0-3.
That was an insane amount of damage from Peanut.
Absolutely bonkers.
White Pallet disappeared. That bind, I guarantee it wasn't even half finished. And White Pallet was already dead, and now you see a rotate up towards the top lane. That top outer is the focus. Vision was up there pushing during that whole bot siege, and then Bon Appetito has to answer with teleport. But now, no more utility left on the side of Rangitoto. And Willetton as a unit seem unstoppable right now.
It's these ambitious plays that Willetton keep making, these picks that they find. In the early game, that was Rangitoto, and you said that was the confidence they're showing again that I said before. But Willetton this time, they've flipped it on its head. They're now making the confident plays, and they look controlled here in this mid-game. The first items picked up across the board, and even though mid lane is down, look at bottom lane, and look at that insane almost 2k gold lead.
2,000 gold, and I said before the game started, DK on Kai'Sa is a daunting person to look at and match up against. And Peanut has just thrown it away. He says, I don't care. I do not care.
It might be the headband. It might be the headband doing something. I mean, you wear the headband when you're confident. I get that. It is. I like the style choice, and I got to say, it's working magic.
I think you're reading into it a little too much.
I don't think I'm reading into it enough, to be quite honest, Tegan.
How much further could you get into it?
Well, I can tell you what's going to happen in the rest of the game, but I don't do that because it has nothing to do with the headband at that point.
Unbelievable.
Quick stun there by Vision. Somnus is 2 levels higher. Actually, will be able to take this 1v1. The Ignite's down Vanguard's edge, but bitten off way too much there. Somnus, solo kill.
That would just be the momentum. Getting the Vision's head. Much like we saw it happen to Rangitoto, where
he's not happy about
when
that.
They had control, they started diving, they started trying to take every fight they could, and now, after a couple of team fights where you were winning as Willetton, Vision goes for a 1v1 that, in retrospect, he knows he shouldn't have went for.
And that's really going to hurt them as well. White Pallet going to get the Cloud Drake. There's no vision control to push up there either. And with Baron spawning in 15 seconds, now one play gets to that point where it could upset the balance of this game. A Cloud Drake locked in, first elemental there for New Zealand.
They were hoping for an Infernal. Has to be said.
Everyone was.
Has to be said.
I think next one's Cloud as well.
Especially when you're playing Nidalee. All you want is that big spike damage. Much like Zoe, that's what you live for.
At this point though, Girapo is trying to face check the Baron pit. There's no vision there from Willetton. They're just relying on clearing these waves, and maybe approaching a 20-minute Baron, maybe on the cards the way this is set up.
Well, if you look at how Willetton has been clawing back into this game, it hasn't actually been proactive plays on the other side of the map. They've been the ones that just put out defensive vision, try and bait Rangitoto into overstepping their bounds and then clamping down on them. So sitting back here, just passively farming, taking your time, makes a lot of sense.
Finding not going to be followed up there though. However, Willetton, 2k gold behind, doesn't feel like it at this point. One misstep sets that Jax on the split push motion. Now moved up to the top side to match to Clowns. Again, Spear misses, and this is going to be everything. Binding versus Spear, what matters more? At this point, they keep catching Lemon Lord, but there's no follow-up. Everyone's grouped there from Rangitoto.
Until the next dragon spawns, I just don't see any big team fight really worth it for either team. You want to fight around an objective. You don't want to just fight for the hell of it. And unless you hit a bind on someone like DK, and even then, you have to hit him without Lemon Lord anywhere nearby, there's no need. Take your time, wait until you see Rangitoto walk away and retake the vision, which is exactly what they're doing. I like
this from Willetton, though, on a side note, Tegan. They've pushed up, they've denied vision from Rangitoto, they've gotten their own. They move back. They don't have to start this Baron. Pressuring it is enough. Peanut is 2 items. And if Rangitoto walk near it to clear it, there could be that pick-up potential with Mushroom Zac, with Peanut's ulti, and with everything else that comes with it.
Yeah, like I said, take your time. Don't aggressively contest vision when you don't need to. Yes, you're letting Somnus scale. All he's doing is going, eating all of these side lanes, getting stronger and stronger. But your whole game plan, it can't just be, let's aggressively look for picks. Because it hasn't worked out for you yet. However, it might work out right now.
It might. Lemon Lord has been caught out. Everyone's there. Every binding lands. And every bit of damage will soak in. The flash over the ward. Lemon Lord survives.
Oh my gosh.
That hurts because there were 2 ultis used. Sorry, only 1.
He even stopped to laugh as he was running away.
Mushroom Zac had to flash over the wall as well. This is not good for Willetton. Clowns just zoning off Somnus. And that is going to be the disengage.
Once Somnus shows up, you have to walk away. He is so exceptionally strong. He wants to come in at the end of these fights and clean everyone up. You had already expended so much trying to catch Tahm Kench. Once it didn't happen, just take the flash, walk away. Instead, there's a little bit of an overcommitment there. Mushroom Zac trying to chase him down and secure the kill. But it was the right playstyle once again. You look for these picks, and when they don't work out, back away. Do not overcommit.
You talk about being scared of Somnus, but he's got an Essence Reaver second. Now, Yes, I'm still scared of that, Jax.
Yep.
This is an interesting build path, T-Gun. Would you like to elaborate?
Not really. I still would have preferred something like Titanic Hydra
Maybe not.
myself, but instead they're on Baron.
Maybe it's not the time. Baron has been started up, no vision here, and this might go down quicker than they can get there. Scrying will spot it out, but Aurelia the only one nearby. A misstep there from Willetton, but Rangitoto pull the trigger. They're now looking for their pick.
There's a teleport above. Scions on Kaiser up here with Vision coming in.
Two-man knock up there. Vanguard's edge. They're going to find DK, who just jumps out, but disarmed onto Somnus now. Stun is too heavy. Vision will be there, knocked up. Vision almost dies and goes down. Somnus still lives, finds the double, actually flushes out as well. A shutdown is massive here. Rangitoto turning this fight on its head. DK lives, and Zach is suddenly dead. 4 for 1. The Clowns is next, still running for his life. The ace on the line. He'll be jumped up. The Decimating Flash lands. The Tongue Lash as well, but the damage is too much. Ace at the cost of 1 life, and Baron to boot.
The fact that Somnus survived that whole endeavor is insane.
Essence Reaver, Tiga.
This is what we saw in their semis, in their quarters run. Was when they were playing aggressive, they kept surviving on low health. You see Silent here getting on DK, getting on Somnus. You have to expect that's a great engage for Willetton, but it wasn't enough. Watch Nidalee here. The flash heal keeps Somnus alive. He's on 1 health. Again, get ready for the healing. One more time. Surviving by the skin of his teeth.
Triumph OP.
Just right on the edge. Almost there for Willetton, but not enough. And now Rangitoto, before they had a small lead. Now it is... dealing with Jax right now, this is all I'm thinking about. You have to have at least 2 people, if not 3, by the way he's playing, to take him down. And when you do that, suddenly the 4-man unit of Rangitoto is going to pick up objectives.
So close yet so far is what I'm picking up that fight, Tiga. And Willetton had 3 quick kills there as a possibility. They found only 1, and these spears are hurting like hell. Yep. White Pallet is such a threat. He'll miss that one, but the turret will still go down. Vision is way too far forward. The Black Shield will defend him for now with the Decimating Smash. But Rangitoto, they continue pushing it.
Willetton have to be decisive. They have to take a fight. The longer they sit here and let themselves get sieged, the worse it gets. Look at Somnus, with Vision there, doesn't care. Sits at the tower, only backs off when he sees another member. And when that happens, this 4-man unit of Rangitoto will walk forward.
This
So
1-3-1 hurts.
they need to fight. They need to engage on somebody.
Vision has to flash away. Somnus almost 3-shot him there. 3 levels above Vision. He has level 3 ultimate. There's a lot of 3s in that number. It's a defense strategy from Willetton, but they're struggling to hold on. Inhibitor going to go down next, and all 3 lanes are getting destroyed.
No decision has been made. No fight has been taken. And because of that, 2 inhibitors down, probably a 3rd soon to follow. And at this point, you just usher the minions in.
Sion with a last-ditch effort. The top lane, the target, it's going to be nearly dropping down. That's 1 kill there for Willetton High School. Rangitoto back away with 1 Nexus turret probably going to drop with no. Minions can't find it, so they hold strong. To a degree.
Strong?
They hold just.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, 1 kill, it's charity at the end of the day. That's something you look at, you're like, yeah, we got him, but we've lost our whole base. They're sitting on a Nexus and 2 turrets. Every lane is open. Yes, if you can somehow defend for the next few minutes, you get the extra money out of the supers, sure, you can sit back and be like, yes, we can still defend. But all Rangitoto are going to do, wait for White Pallet to respawn, group up, usher the waves in, and suddenly it will be overbearing for Willetton to defend. They have to be extremely decisive. They need to try and find DK and Lemon Lord here. The closer they get to the base, the harder it is to defend.
Peanut is 4-1-4. Like, this Varus is so fed, he's doing so much damage, but he just can't dish it out because now DK has found that 3-item power spike as well. He's caught his way up and even over the top of Peanut just through the gold that has been found by Rangitoto.
Generally, when I see someone with a scoreline like that on the losing team, I say to myself, have they been playing too passively? And that isn't the case here. For Peanut. He's been aggressive every chance he can be. He's been the one looking for picks, throwing his ultimate out essentially like a Morgana bind, and he just hasn't found enough, or at least Willetton as a team haven't found enough to translate that into pretty much anything threatening.
That one fight changed everything here in this game. Number 1, Rangitoto, New Zealand, they're looking for the end here. The minion waves are pouring in. 3 inhibitors are down. This Nexus turret will naturally go down, but how hard can Willetton defend?
They need to fight right now. Look at all the supers coming in. The longer you take, the worse it gets. Just try and fight anybody. It's a Hail Mary, I know, but here it goes.
Well, Urgot jumps in first. Willetton trying to defend their best. The Vanguard's edge locks them down. They find number 1. Rangitoto drop again. Peanut was free hitting until now. Wide pallet jumps forward and DK lives on. That'll be enough there to secure New Zealand the first win. They lead the charge to the best of 5. They destroy the Nexus as well.
They tried. At the end, it almost looked like Western Australia was going to come away with a team fight victory there, but it just wasn't enough. Too little, too late. Rangitoto, with that big Baron play, turned around the game, took control back, and that was all she wrote.
They look so calm as well. Like, you saw Somnus that game really change the pace. Now, that fight could have gone so bad for New Zealand. The stats were on WA. And then it was that one fight, that one play where Somnus took a 4v1 or something outrageous, a 3v1.
Okay. No, the Nidalee Hill came in clutch before the Triumph Hill as well. So we have to give credit to them as a team. But that was the big play.
Yeah.
It was Somnus surviving by the skin of his teeth, not once but twice. No real counterplay. They knew Baron was being taken. They knew they weren't getting there in time, and they didn't get anything for it. There was no trade. In fact, they got aced for it. So once that happens, you have to sit back and say to yourself, well, how do we come back from this? And the way you come back from that is trying something cheesy. You go all in, try and find a pick. You might have to concede something for it. But instead, they just didn't react fast enough and slowly lost their whole base.
At that point, you say that WA had control of the game. And they did, because New Zealand completely lost the control of Vision.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. That's the problem. I would say they were definitely... It was an even game. There wasn't anything NZ could really do until they found that Baron play. They were really just fighting for the exact same vision back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
New Zealand couldn't commit to an objective, and Western Australia, they wouldn't be proactive on an objective. They were fighting for vision, they were defending everything, but they weren't ever threatening an objective. They were simply sitting back and making sure they could control New Zealand.
I think game 1 is an indicator of how this series is going to go, though, because that was close to the core. That was close. It came to one play, one moment. And if White Pallet didn't have the peace of mind to flash heal, then suddenly you see a very different play, a very different WA who probably after the Baron find 2 or 3 off the back foot. DK probably would have died. The chase would have come through. And it was the early game that I thought would have a big impact. Disappeared and then kind of came back in the end.
Yeah, Rangitoto, like we expected, were strong across the board early game. Every lane looked solid. Yes, the bot lane wasn't winning, but they were fine. They were farming up. That's a happy place for them. And eventually, it just got thrown away. They went too aggressive. They went for fights where I guarantee, in retrospect, when they look back at these games, they're going to say to themselves, why did we do this? Yep. Why were we playing down in bot side when our top side was winning, when Somnus was so aggressive, White Pallet had so much control? Now, if they can shore that up going into Game 2, Game 3, suddenly that mid-game swing we saw from Willetton might not happen.
Did we get the answer from the jungle, though? Did we get the answer from Girafo that there was something new and something fresh in the jungle? Did the roster swap work?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to say. We have nothing to compare it to.
We have a Game 1.
We're comparing it to New Zealand's team and them only.
Okay,
we can't go back to the semis and the quarters and say, well, it was different in X, Y, Z way. I would say right now, it looked solid for me. They looked like they were contenders for the majority of that game.
They did.
They struggled in lane just a little bit, but once they came out of laning phase, they started grouping up, taking team fights, looking for picks. They were readily a step ahead of New Zealand.
One big play changed the game, but that is only game number 1 here in the finals. We're going to be back after a 5-minute break to take you through game 2 with New Zealand taking on the rest of Australia and WA. Welcome back to the High School AU and NZ League of Legends Championship. My name's Jake Asteric Sothipenko. This is Bradley Teagun Seymour. Wrong order, but right competition here for this afternoon. It is a Saturday, Teagun. Welcome back.
Thanks for welcoming me back.
It's like welcome back to the weather, isn't it?
I thought we were going to talk about the previous game.
No, we are about to. I'm going to get you there. Game number 2 is coming in with high expectations after what New Zealand achieved after falling back in the mid-game. I think it's also high expectations on the side of WA, who've led us to believe there's a story behind them as well.
Well, they looked competent and like they could win that game
so.
the whole time.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of problems in the early game. If they can shore that up, suddenly their mid-game, when they started springing back, started taking team fights, instead of being on the back foot and having to look for picks, they can start being aggressive, start playing around objectives. And all they need to do is just shore up the early game. And I think that's easily achievable.
I want to look a little bit and break down play styles of New Zealand, because in their laning phase, it feels like every single game there's just a story to tell. The top side, for the first time, it feels like Bon Appetito has had great laning phases and has won pretty much every lane he's come across in the quarterfinals, in the semi-finals. In this game, it was stable, and that's also procs to Clowns.
I would have to agree. I would say it was stable with an asterisk. He generally had priority when his jungler needed it. He was able to roam down and assist, if you remember that fight early on around the Rift Herald area.
Also warding as well, yeah.
But apart from that, you're right, it was an uncharacteristically quiet game from the top laner of Rangitoto, and I would expect them to come into this game and shift. Urgot, clearly, it didn't work for them. It's a great pick, mind you, but maybe it just doesn't suit his play style. Maybe it didn't suit how they wanted to play as a team, so perhaps switch that, go back to something maybe like Jace. Maybe take the Scion for yourself. You need to find something more comfortable for him. Apart from that, I wouldn't find any fault with their draft. I think they all played their champions quite well. Somnus obviously got a huge lead early.
Yeah, but
maybe he started feeling himself a bit too much.
A little bit too much. There were some plays in there with question marks, but that was the same to be said of Vision in towards that late game. There was that one-on-one that kind of accelerated Somnus, more the mid-game, excuse me, and then it turned into that big fight, that big game-changing fight. And off the back of White Pallet, that Nidalee pick seems to be the crux of it all.
I think it was a perfect pick. I was saying maybe you look for something a bit more aggressive, maybe take the Xin Zhao for yourself or go back to Sejuani. But he proved that it was worth it. Aggressive early on, easily the pivotal point in that mid 2v2 skirmish, coming in right at the perfect time.
Yep.
And for me, all you can really do for Rangitoto there, sit back, look at the game and say, we were too aggressive at these points. If we can scale that back, suddenly the game is significantly cleaner.
They look pretty casual as well. Like at this point, you're going, it was a good game one. New Zealand felt like they were maintaining control the majority of it. There were some points when, yes, they did slip behind, but they'll work on that game number 2. That's, it's in best of 5 series about adaptation here. And for our younger players, that adaptation needs to be shown. That's how you make the next step.
Well, you talk about adaptation, and when someone says that springs to me is, what do you ban? How do you change your draft strategy? And for me, I'm not even sure there are things you ban from Rangitoto. If you remove Nidalee, he's going to be just as aggressive and just as stable on Sejuani. Suddenly, now you have to push 2 bans towards jungle.
Yep.
Maybe even 3 if you want to remove Nocturne as well. It's such a weird situation, but I look at all the champions' pictures then, and I say to myself, I don't think any of these got out of control as a champion. Somnus on Jax picked up 2 kills early and still got stalled out in the side lanes. He wasn't able to dive the Xin Zhao. He got caught trying to dive the Scion. For me, you look at their champions, you just say, these were not the problem. We simply have to play cleaner as a team, and we can take the victory.
Yeah, so then, and by the way, headband off now.
Oh,
so
no.
Things are getting even more. So if you thought it was serious before, now we've just taken like an extra 100%. Let's jump into game number 2, because if Rangitoto, if they still get these comfort picks, well, then Willetton have to step up even further. They have to change their draft.
Now, you said headband on meant he was going to win.
No, well, at that point in the game, I thought, what is going on? What is on that headband?
Headband's off.
Now, maybe it's even better, Teagun. I don't know. This is how Willetton High School, I don't know what he was wearing at home, or at school, wherever they were playing. Was he wearing the headband? Great question. Let's ask a little bit later, Teagun. I want to focus on the game, because in game number 2, let's see if Willetton changed that draft up and catch Rangitoto by surprise.
Now, I love this Zara ban by Rangitoto. I can't remember if they did in the first game, but as an adaptation, as something you want to keep doing, keep Mushroom Zac off something aggressive. That bot lane was such a neutral lane, and that seems to be quite a nice thing for you. DK plays quite well in the late game. He's able to be aggressive within reason. Now, if you just let him get to that late game, as a team, you got to sit there and be like, this is fine. This is completely acceptable. We will scale, and then DK can carry in the late game.
Not letting Mushroom Zach have that comfortability on the Zyra, and back to those 100% of bans where we see Nocturne not being available second time in a row. Lucian, Tristana also in that same area.
Well, you talk about these pick ban champions, the 100% champions, and things like Aatrox and Urgot deserve to be there, but they were left through. Urgot picked and Aatrox just fell through the draft completely last game.
Yep.
So we can't rest on what we expect to be pick ban. Galio, Xayah rounding it out, and the Galio one to me is a little interesting. Obviously, it has been played before by New Zealand, if I'm correct. So it makes sense to sort of lock it out there.
More like
Actually, no,
Willetton.
it was Willetton that played it.
It was the Clowns, but he's in the top lane now.
Banning it out, essentially from yourself, it screams to me that you want to play a comp that can be aggressive on one side of the map. You're trying to remove global champions. It wouldn't surprise me if top lane isn't picked. Sorry, it already has been picked. Bon Appetit back to that Urgot, assuming he is going top. Screams to me you don't want them to play a global comp. You don't want them to pick things like Shen. Pick things that, like Twisted Fate, for example, which be a little bit out of left field. You just want to keep it in lanes.
For anyone questioning why Tegan said if Bon Appetit is going top, if you have not tuned in, Bon Appetit and Somnus have changed roles before. Now, that is to say that they didn't like the lane matchup. They instantly swapped at the start of the game. It's definitely not beyond them at this point. It is a similar pick and ban, exactly the same apart from that one Galio ban. Looks like the Varus to rinse and repeat. Strong laning pressure. Didn't seem like the bottom lane was the issue.
Now that is a massive tool to have up your sleeve, by the way. Being able to just swap in game, say mid lane is going top, top's going mid because of matchups.
Yep.
That's not something a lot of teams can do. We were talking about Willetton Senior High School doing these roster swaps, putting players into different roles, and we thought that was going to be a big thing, but Rangitoto dealt with it quite well. Like I said, they were aggressive in the jungle, trying to dictate the pace there because that is where the big sub change is coming in. But apart from that, Somnus looked strong in the mid lane.
Exact same.
DK was comfortable in bot, and the draft so far, neither team finding an issue. Like I said, I didn't see an issue either.
No, Clowns just wants to take that Sion matchup once again. Looked fine in it, but we didn't see him across the map to at least the 18-minute mark. See if Willetton maybe change up the execution instead. Second ban phase will just be a same rinse and repeat as DK finds his Kai'Sa.
So far, so good. Both teams pretty happy with what happened. And now, when you lose the game, you can easily go back and find problems in the draft and say, this was wrong, this was wrong. However, like I said before, I don't think the draft was really influential in terms of the game.
Aurelia banned away, so they did see Vision as a big threat. Unfortunately, he kind of fell off because he just couldn't find his way in. It was that solo kill that brought him down. He's not going to get the chance to redeem on that same pick. So with that banned away and the Kali as well, looks like mid lane is taking a bit of a stab.
I wouldn't even say it was a solo kill that made him fall off. It was the double kill early on. But that being said, Nidalee now the target ban. Everything changing in the second half of the draft. And if I'm Rangitoto, I'd probably slam in Sejuani here. Go back to something White Palette has shown he's comfortable on. Skarner, a hover here. I personally think Skarner is almost a bait pick.
Now, as a side note, it's not a bait, first of all, Tegan. White Palette has played Sejuani, Nidalee. After last game, Nidalee, and now Skarner. This guy plays twos of champions, so expect Game 3 to see the Skarner as well.
Now, I just want to say, when I say bait pick, I mean, people think it's strong, and by its kit, it definitely is. But generally, executing it is harder than it looks.
Oh.
You sit there and you think, point and click, easy suppress, no problem. But it's a lot harder than that to just execute Skarner and get full use out of him. So you can't just sit there back and be like, yep, we got Skarner, easy lockdown on someone. On the side of Willetton, Kane locked in.
Now, this was the second ban in the second ban phase from Rangitoto. Last game in the Lysandra. We've been seeing it across world. That is a slam lock in and could be mid, could be top with the Sion lock back in. We'll question Aftershock or Electrocute. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But you've got your AD carry. Unless you want to play something mid, they will just put down the Rise.
I was looking at the hovers there, thinking to myself, there's no way they're taking Heimerdinger here. Surely not. But Rise, taken for Somnus, makes a lot of sense here. He loves carry champions at least whenever he's given any matchup. I'm assuming that's his first thought is, what can I take into this? that is also a carry threat, that can scale, that can let me take control of the game. Ryze, one of those champions that's obviously going to work there. Now, just having a quick look here, all of the champions locked in their respective roles. Wanted to make sure there was no funny business.
Well, we got 5 seconds anyway.
Wanted to make sure. But it all looks pretty standard here. Everything going where you would expect it. Lissandra in mid, Sion top, Urgot top, and Ryze in mid. Basically going to their homes, for the lack of a better term.
Yeah, quote unquote.
It's such a tough thing to really sit down and hammer in because of how fluid the meta is right now.
I'll make it easier for you, Tegan. Right now, I'm looking at vision in terms of what to watch this game. The Lissandra has been such a big pick internationally, but to bring it out here, to make that, again, adaptation, we thought the draft was going to be the same, but here they are with the Kayn, with the Lissandra, and now for Willetton changing things up on the blue side again for the second game in a row. This will make a difference if they can get ahead.
That's a big if. A big, big if.
With the Kayn, that's what you're hoping for.
For me, you were talking Lissandra, what do you go, Electrocute or Aftershock? I'd be going Aftershock.
Yeah.
You want to be tanky on that Lissandra. You want to be pretty much first in the door. Go into the team, try and initiate for your team, and your damage isn't really the big issue. You don't really want to go in and try and delete someone. If you want to do that, there are much better champions to pick. Easily, Lissandra lower on that list. So he has taken the Aftershock.
Lissandra, T-Gun with TP. This is what I want to see, and to fight back, Willetton will need this game to equalize here. They're going for a harsh invade to kick things off.
Spotted out instantly. Wards there from Rangitoto, and now no one will look to fight here.
That's mean.
He's having a giggle both in-game, and you can see it on his player cam as well.
I think, did he change skins as well for Tahm Kench? I feel like he did. I feel like he had Earth Tahm Kench before, and now he's the Master Chef.
I don't think it matters what skin he has.
Well, it does.
It's more the emotes he's using.
Yeah.
Can't
use emotes in this. So throughout high school, throughout the quarterfinals and semifinals, we finally saw emotes here on the OPL channel.
I want them to be in every competitive game.
Well, they're in the LPL. That's,
I think they're
that's
wonderful.
You get.
Let them loose. Let people emote. Let them style. Let them show their character.
You're a real emote activist, Tegan.
Yep. Especially the Blitzcrank one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big fan of that one.
That's a big question mark, that emote. Anyway, for Rangitoto, I want to put you in their position, Tegan. You've just found yourself the first game. You've now changed up your jungler pick in the Skarner. How does this affect the other one?
I wouldn't even look at your picks because you still have the same team archetype. You have a mid laner that hyperscales. Top and bot are both the exact same. Now, yes, you might not be as aggressive as you were on Nidalee as you are on Skarner, but your general team is the same, whereas you look at Willetton's and suddenly it's completely different. Lissandra instead of Aurelia, massive change, as well as Kayn in the jungle. When I'm Rangitoto, I'm looking at the opposite team's picks instead of your own when I think about how to play.
And Rangitoto have just been dominating their laning phase. Even in this first game, there were signs that there was no life coming out of it. Willetton managed to fight their way through. Vision has changed onto the Lissandra, and that Aftershock going into a Ryze. Let's see how that changes things.
Now, we're talking about Lissandra and her side of the matchup, but we haven't spoken about Ryze, especially he's taken Cleanse. So the kill threat isn't going to be in mid lane. We're likely going to see Vision use that teleport, try and get active. In my eyes, top lane. That is the easiest lane for you to go and impact. Going bot means you have to go on Tahm Kench, which is never fun for anyone. For Willetton, they need to be active early. Last game, they were being punished early. They were just reacting. There was no proactivity until about 10, 15 minutes into the game. The second you hit level 6, you have Lissandra and Sion, two champions that just explode in power when they hit level 6. Get them active on the map.
Maybe they can be on the front foot of the play. That is going to be a steal from White Palette as I say that. There was vision that White Palette was at that topside jungle. And Drafo wasn't able to respond as he picked up the scuttle on the bottom side. Information over to both junglers here, but again, Rangitoto's White Palette comes out ahead.
Doesn't matter what champion he's on. He is always aggressive, always looking to take whatever he can from the other team. Now, Giraffe, without a buff, 3 buffed by White Palette, again on the back foot.
It's harsh at this point. You can see the veterancy of White Palette as a jungler. I mean, Giraffe comes in and there's props there, because in the mid game, helped find these picks, made some of the shot calling by the looks of it, and made a big difference. So the macro play to be talked up here of Willetton.
Definitely the early game for Rangitoto
Definitely to be talked
is
up.
where the macro is what you would talk about. Once they hit mid-game, it seemed like they sort of fell apart in terms of where they wanted their priorities to be. But so far, White Palette dictates early game exceptionally well.
Bit of poking back and forth from Sominus just to use up the mana bar, but he's taken phase rush here in this lane, of course, so he's going to back away. Vision.
He's going to get the stop
that. Yep. That's kind of punishing as well. Vision should be able to catch up.
That's a massive punish. You don't have Teleporter's Rise. He still has to recall, essentially losing a full wave of EXP and gold purely to get that tier on the recall. Pretty smart there from Vision. Now he gets the recall as well, loses nothing for it.
He has TP as well.
Shouldn't use it here.
No.
Unless he's going to impact bot or top. Like I said, I don't want him to ever TP to lane. I think if you're Vision, you think to yourself, how do I get my team ahead? You're not a support, but that's what your mentality should be, is how do I support my team? How do I get Peanut ahead? How do I get Giraffe ahead? Let these carry threats, let the Assassin potentially start getting a lot of strength.
When Peanut needed that support in game 1, it was a bit of a struggle there from Willetton to help out the AD carry. I think he finished 4 or 5-1 by the end of that game 1, and that's something rare to see, that the AD carry so far ahead, yet unable to hold off these team fights. See if game 2 is any different, because 5 minutes in, Vision still being a high priority. Looks like bottom side from Giraffe. He's going to meet with a very deadly Scorpion here. Chilling smites there. Remember, the damage is huge from Skarner level 1. Flash burst. Mushrooms act so quick on the chase.
Priority in bot lane. Rangitoto were recalling. So White Palette there, he needs to know that he has no support. His aggression gets the better of him and he tries to get in there anyway. Loses his flash, loses the crab, and finally something going right for Giraffe in the early game.
And Willetton, they back away after the play. They get the scuttle, they're out. They don't overstep their mark. So the learnings from game 1 already coming through.
Yep.
And that summoner down from White Palette, he's about to hit level 6 as well. That Impale, no longer a real threat, considering that every single lane here has a way to get out.
As long as he's able to get in, he'll be fine. But like you said, no flash is a massive loss for Skarner.
Vision
Might
going
still
up.
be able to get in, but still, it just makes it so much more difficult. Suddenly you're nowhere near as threatening as you want to be. And we look at it in a vacuum and we say, oh, he only lost flash, he survived, it's okay. But much like when you're playing Nocturne and other champions that spike at level 6, you have such a short window to get active early on. Losing flash puts you back so much. So for Giraffe, for Willetton, that is a big pickup and something they need to be considering. How do we now play around Skarner's lack of flash?
He's now about to hit 6. Giraffe has that Kane ultimate as soon as he hits it, plus the flash. So he'll get red, he'll back away, he'll take one more camp, and that's probably what's going to make it. At this point, no warrior just yet, and both junglers heading towards, well, Cinderhulk for White Palette most likely. Giraffe going for damage. Early game impact. That is the change here in the jungle. The Xin Zhao fell behind. Giraffe this time 1 buff, but no level difference.
Now you say Cinderhulk for White Palette, damage for Giraffe though, and that's exactly what they're going to build all game. Kane is never going to build tanky. At most,
You'd hope not.
He might build a Sterak's.
Or maybe a Black Cleaver. Think
At
about the tank
most.
capability
That is
there.
it. Whereas White Palette scaling is all about being frontline for his team.
Yeah.
You look at the rest of his team, the next tankiest member is probably going to be Tom. I would say he would be more tanky than Urgot by the time it hits
Late game
team
Rise,
fights. Late game Rise is still not tanky.
Oh, late game Rise takes a long time to die.
It takes a long time to get to that point as well.
Yeah, that's true. And by then, Time Camp is probably a brick wall.
So for Rangitoto, White Palette is their frontline, essentially. Now, it's still quite quiet here. Like we said before, no flash means no gank.
I think it's going to speed up in a second, though. Look at this. On the other side of the map, White Palette has been able to take the Raptors. But on the other side, finally, Giraffe responds. The Krugs are being taken away too.
However, Rangitoto know. They've pinged it out. They're aware of where he is. Someone's caught, though.
The play's being made. It's Tom Kent. It's going to be first blood, and it's over to Peanut. Willetton fight back.
Perfect layering of the CC there. They finally get the Tom. Up top, Buon Appetito trying to get the 1v1, but it will not be the answer there. And I was saying before They need to lay it down and go on Tahm Kench if they're going bot side. And they finally link all the CC up correctly, get the kill. Giraffe now stealing back the buff he lost earlier.
Well, it was a blue buff thing, but fair enough. I mean, he's going to get
buff's a buff.
tri-buffed.
A buff's a buff.
A buff is a damn buff. White Palette is a level behind as well. He'll get this ward. He's heading towards blue. Predator channeled. Here comes Scion Speedway, except it's a Scorpion. White Palette coming around the side. Giraffe gets smited down. There's the suppression. Scion's out because he gets bursted. Somnus makes a quick rotation, and he's still not going to get the blue buff.
There's something hilarious about us watching Giraffe struggle to survive there, do his best, and ultimately fall down. And just to the side of him, there's a Scion just barreling away, just leaving. Just drives by, waves, and leaves his teammate to die. Obviously, he had struggled in the 1v1. He was almost dead. Mushroom Zac also
That's Ignite
almost
down.
dead.
There is no flash from Lemon Lord. He chases up the kill, but look at DK. Peanut doesn't have the flash to follow through, but he might find Lemon Lord. If DK comes in, he's going to die. One hit, the Tongue Lash stuns him up, but Lyssandra's in. Vision over the wall. Flashes there. He doesn't go for DK. Doesn't have the ulti, which is why they try to get Lemon Lord. One hit, hits it perfectly.
I was kind of wondering, why aren't you on DK? Why don't you just commit? Flash there from Lysandra probably kills. However, they get Lemon Lord Vision back to the mid lane, and this is what I was saying he needed to do. Get in mid lane, clear wave, get to sides. I was saying I didn't really want him to teleport mid, but using it there after a gank, you get a kill in bot lane, get back, deny Somnus the ability to trade potentially the turret. Second game from first game for Willetton High School. Significant difference already.
Yeah. Massive difference. The Infernal comes first as well on this composition, which is all they could ask for. However, while we've been averting our eyes to the rest of the map, Somnus has been hitting every damn CS. He's at 112 CS at 10 minutes 50 in the game, beating the clock. And Vision, due to his roams during the matching coming through, he's dropped 40 CS here at 11 minutes.
It's to be expected almost, is you know when you leave lane, when you have to go roam, you're conceding something. And right now, it's just CS. However, you see just how strong Somnus is already. Not even a completed item, and he's bullying out Vision. He knows that the Lysandra doesn't want the 1v1. All Vision wants to do is clear the wave and go away. Bot side, top side, recall, doesn't matter. The game plan is essentially clear wave and leave. Never fight that rise. Until you hit 15, 20 minutes and it's a big team fight.
Somnus, again, seems to be that condition. He has played a different champion each and every game here at the High School Nationals. Now, AUNZ Championship here. There's that change. There's 5 different champions on the board here for Somnus, and he's looking good at every single one of them. 1-0 this time with an early start. Well, again, with an early start. We'll see if he keeps that up competitively in the mid-game.
But it's all about, can he still be aggressive? You see right here, Willetton are willing to roam their duo in the mid. Whenever that happens, even if it's unsuccessful, it puts a little bit of doubt. It puts a little bit of fear into the mind of Somnus. Can I really go this aggressive? Or do I have to pay respect? Now, you'd expect the Tahm Kench side to be the one that's roaming, to be the one that's aggressive elsewhere. But Willetton High School, they've turned around their early game from game 1 to game 2. Game 1, like I said, they were reactive. They were struggling everywhere. After that mid 2v2, it felt like they were always behind. Game 2, finally, they're on point. They're roaming, they're aggressive. The only one I haven't seen try to be aggressive is the Scion up in top lane. And I'm assuming it will soon happen. You see him recalling here with ultimate available.
At least he hasn't dropped that death, as Willetton actually might burn first turret blood off this. Maybe not, as they realize DK's coming in. Somnus has gone Mia across the map, and White Palette with ulti is roaming down as well.
Look at Scion's pathing out of the base. He is ready to go. Everyone is moving towards the bot side. Oh, he's just turned away. I hate seeing that Tahm Kench going in, though.
Voyage, it's just Lemon Lord. The heal immediately used with the Black Shield, but caught up. That's not good positioning from Giraffe. Scion unstoppable into the force. Now with Bon Appetito, he'll find the ulti. Fear beyond death. Finally, the chains come through. Bon Appetito eats his prey, and DeClowns is not in a good position. They'll slow him down, force the flash. Fishing comes in to save the day, but he may just ruin it. With the root up, White Palette's there. Ulti used onto Vision. DeClowns is over the wall still, but he doesn't find the decimating smash. Can Peanut change the fight? Bon Appetito forces yet another flash. White Pallet's there, Decimating Smash away, but Peanut doesn't die. Survives long enough to get a trade kill, but over the wall, the fight continues forward. Somnus locked back up to Clowns. Can't save his mid laner either. This Scion is in a Bruce Willis movie. However, Bruce Willis never came. Bon Appetito finds another one, and there's a clean fight for Rangitoto.
What a sketchy fight from both sides, just goes on forever. But the people that were proactive, and I will hammer this home forever, are generally the ones that come out. And you see in the
That's a
forward
great
moment.
summary of the fight. That, to be fair, that is a great summary of the fight. That went by like that.
You see the early TPs from Rangitoto getting the initiate off. Finally, we see the change from Urgot. I don't think we saw that all last game.
There we go.
Watch the Rise ultimate. Teleport's coming in. Lemon Lord is already in the fight. Girafo's dead before anything happens. And you see from Willetton, they're trying to fight. Zac has the ultimate on everybody, but goes down to Bon Appetito. And Peanut is locked out here. And now the chase begins. And it goes on for so long. To Clowns is so effective over a wall, which is not something you expect from a Scion. And right here, I was thinking maybe Peanut can turn it around. But White Pallet still has ultimate. And Peanut goes down too quickly. Somnus right on the edge there, just throwing everything he could. Barely gets Lysandra here. And for such a long fight, when I look at how Somnus played that, he was right on the edge the whole time. Dodging out the Scion over the wall, making sure he got the maximum. 3-0-3.
There's the cleanse. Actually, Vision wanted to take the fight, but Somnus ready to take it right back. White Pallet coming in. The speedy Scorpion. Ultimate used by Peanut for some reason, but that is short.
Trying to catch. He knows there's no cleanse at that point. And look at where Mushroom Zac is. If that ultimate had landed from Peanut, Somnus was going down. Instead, the aggression once again pays off this time, but burns his cleanse for it. Now you have control. This Rift Herald is a foregone conclusion. Bot turret under siege, but never really in threat here for Willetton. But the top side is where I'm looking. 2-0-2 Bon Appetito with Barrier.
What a change.
Rift Herald now as well. That top turret is not long for the world.
There's a Realm Warp there as well. Unstoppable Onslaught is in good timing. The Clowns is out, but that top turret, that's not going to share the same fate.
That top turret is gone. The second tier potentially as well. Your answer is to look for bot lane. Kane hovering as well. However, against Rift Herald, you're always losing a race.
Remember, Peanut just used ulti, Abyssal Voyage, to get out of the fight. Giraffe coming in over the side, but thinks otherwise. One turret down, and they want to try and match it, but this is not going to work with the Rift Herald.
Second one soon to follow. Potentially you can set up here.
Turret.
Not really.
Okay.
It's a thought, but at the same time, it's a risk.
My thought.
And Rangitoto, from the first game to the second one, all they're thinking to themselves is, let's not be risky. They were in the first game, and it bit them. They lost control for about 10 minutes in the mid-game. Mountain Drake next. And for them, right now, all they're thinking of is, how do we close this game out without being too aggressive, without tower diving, without fighting over objectives we don't need to think about. Drake right there, a good objective to concede.
Well, you got no bot side priority. At this point, T-Gun, 3 of the four deaths, from Rangitoto are on that bottom side. 2 on the Tahm Kench, 1 on the Kai'Sa. The only other one is White Pallet, who died at the end of the fight. So, at this point, Willetton have their win condition. And again, it's through Peanut, who has 3 kills. But what can they do with this Varus in comparison to what Rangitoto can do with Somnus on the rise and Bon Appetito, who now we've seen an ultimate out of?
You say they have the win condition in Varus, but that is an extremely tough thing to ask of Peanut. You have so many threats on the other team, you just have to worry about in terms of damage as well as utility. You can't be near Skarner unless you have Mushroom Zac around.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in range of Rise, because he will tear you apart, even through Black Shield. DK as well is going to hit you hard, and the second you get low, you have to assume Bon Appetito is going to be there. Everyone but Tahm on the team of Rangitoto is threatening to Varus. However, on the side of Rangitoto, Varus isn't really threatening to anyone. All you're worried about is Lysandra coming in, locking up Rise.
Well, with the cleanse not up and available, they turn onto Mushroom and Zac. There's the ult miss, but everything thrown out. Mushroom Zac deleted. Even the Chains of Corruption can't save his life. Rangitoto make the play.
That's a situation where you're the Morgana and you need to just cop the death. You were a little too far forward. The whole team had come and surrounded you. There was no saving him there. Rangitoto expended a lot, but what do they get for it?
And on this note as well, if Willetton wanted to make the reverse play, Giraffe still doesn't have Rast. He has to go through the wall now, but he's not going to make it. Eaten up by Lemon Lord. That's the hungry Tahm Kench, and that is a dead Giraffe.
You know what? I'm surprised Lemon Lord wasn't sitting there spamming his laugh after that kill.
Well, he's learnt T-Gun.
That has been his go-to.
He's got nicer, all right?
The aggression there from Lemon Lord was perfect. Locks down Giraffe, and suddenly Rangitoto, all it took was one victory. One team fight victory, and they're aggressive everywhere.
Find it off the back again. Willetton want to make that play. Lemon Lord has used Cleanse, but Spellbook will enable that Ignite to be back up. Remember, Tahm Kench has no flash, so if Rangitoto get caught out by their support, there could be something Willetton can make of it.
I was sitting there thinking to myself, why did he blow Cleanse there? Why so aggressively? And the answer, at least for me, is you want to be rotating the summoner, and also you wouldn't die there, but your team would be slowed down. People would have to stop their recalls, you would lose tempo. So you trade that summoner spell, you would prefer that over the Ignite, but that trade is massive because now Rangitoto, when they come out onto the map, can take full control of this top side. And that's where the importance of this game is going to end, is Baron is a huge threat. The damage output of Rangitoto, Kai'Sa Rise, is insane. The Baron will melt. And on the side of Willetton, you have to fight so hard for vision, and eventually there is going to be a gap in that vision.
But at least they got there first on the Baron. They prioritized it. They went there as a good reaction play, and now Baron is lit up. So hopefully they can see this Baron coming, and hopefully they'll be able to contest this time. We will see, as Bon Appetito does not have teleport available, but I guarantee you he has one in the back pocket, and Clowns has one for himself as well. He's a level behind, and the top side of this map still more influential on Rangitoto's side.
Well, I guarantee they see that Baron coming. But contesting it is a whole other thing. Like I said, the damage output is insane. The Baron will go down extremely quickly, and the split push pressure of Urgot is always going to force someone to be bot.
Vision wanted to take the glacial path, but unfortunately DK was there. This is going to be a dead Lissandra. DK doesn't even need to ult here. Ignite drop down. Last hit. Giraffe coming in. Lemon Lord actually has to eat him back up. They can't make the turn just yet. On the other side of the map, the chains are on the screen. Bon Appetito has had his fill. The napkin is down. And Rangitoto on the top side, they're running away. It's Varus free hitting again. Peanut walks forward, finds a double kill, and this could be Baron.
You get the double kill, you get the trade, but it's never Baron there. Look at the threat down in bot lane. Urgot and Rise shoving in the wave, looking for towers. You have to answer that. You need to send people bot lane. Vision is the first one there. If they had stayed for Baron, they would be at least trading an inhibitor. Potentially. The steal was there. White Pallet was around. They get the trade. You get something back. But they do the correct thing. They don't overcommit. And they're all good.
What a shame, T-Gun. Baron could have been hyped there. Baron could have been what I was looking for as we look at this one again.
The Rise ult stops the Urgot.
There we are.
Suddenly, Sion's done. He can never get away. Finally, they stop the unstoppable charge. Easy kill there for Rangitoto. Turns into the turret. The answer is there up in top lane.
I hope so.
But if you're Western Australia, it's not enough. You get that kill, but you need to try and compound it into something else. You were hyped for Baron.
I was. I saw 2 kills on the AD carry who I was talking about before, and I saw an opportunity for Willetton.
I guarantee for a split second that went through their heads as well. Can we Baron here? And those are the opportunities they need to take. In that situation, they made the correct call. They backed off, didn't go for it because it was a little too much of a stretch. But that is how they can get back into this game. They're currently down 5,000 gold. They don't have a lot of control. You can see Rangitoto here taking the dragon freely. The only answer is to go get vision control. Go try and clear out the top side to stall a game out.
They see Dragon's gone down. They start up this Baron though. This is completely blind. They see Lissandra in the mid lane. They do not tag it. Doesn't go down quick enough.
Evidently not, but the thought was there. They almost got away with it. However, Rangitoto in the mid lane are initiating on Vision.
They've
He's
found a
gone.
Fear Beyond Death again. Bon Appetito doesn't need the Fear. He's already found the pick. 1 kill already for Rangitoto. They turn onto Peanut, who's been caught out. Shut down there. 2 members dead. And Willetton are running for their lives. Here comes the Abyssal Voyage as well. With a 2-man knock-up, Girafo has Wrath. But what does it all mean, T-Gun? Girafo walks away. It'll be 2 on the blood of Rangitoto.
Well, I can tell you what it means. It is Baron. That is where Rangitoto go here. Everyone has to recall. Girafo, they saw burnt flash and has to run back to the fountain. He never gets here in time. At best, you have Morgana and maybe Sion, and that is it. No one else can contest. Baron is gone here. Rangitoto, they get the catches. Willetton had slightly overstepped by trying to take Baron for themselves. Vision gets caught out in the mid lane. And once again, massive control goes over to New Zealand.
It could have been so different if they just started the Baron up when that Dragon was expected, but we'll watch it once more.
Vision here is sacrificing himself to stop Rangitoto. That's why he went in. He was thinking to himself, can I stall this out? But his team was on a different page. They were already backing out. They were already getting out of dodge, trying to concede the objective, trying to just lose as little as possible. And instead, because they were on 2 separate trains of thought, they lose both things. They lose the mid laner and Baron.
You know what? If you read Urgot's ultimate, Fear Beyond Death, at the bottom it says, Urgot puts his, it's a chem drill into you. If you are low enough health, he deems you weak. And right there, Vision was deemed weak. 1, 2, and 4. A 4-0-3 Urgot with 3 items. Bon Appetito is now unkillable, unstoppable, undeliverable. If you want to give someone that kill on the side of Willetton High School. And WA falling behind 8,000 gold here now, 25 minutes. The push continues with Baron buff and Girafo, who's just been caught out. He's definitely dying here. Thank you very much, says Somnus.
All he wanted was his wolves. Not too much to ask, is it? At this point, yes it is. Vision going on someone.
Being very proactive with the ult used by Peanut. Not too much synergy there. Vision has to get out of dodge against the turret. DK ults into the backside. Someone who's been quiet. Missteps here. The binding lands. But here comes Bon Appetito again. Fear Beyond Death. The Fear finds 2 members. Urgot is so unstoppable at this point. Why do we let him through champion select? He will die to the turret, which is great for Peanut. And maybe that's why, to give Peanut the gold. Top planer goes down. Meanwhile, Willetton are forcing onto White Pallet. Looks like he's safe for now. Peanut still alive.
Once again, Rangitoto just being too aggressive, too impatient. They have so much control. DK there, doing what he does best, trying to dive and be the star of the team, trying to be as aggressive as possible. And it doesn't pay off. They don't get the kill. Watch Vision here going on Rise, instantly eaten by Tarm, cleanse burns as well. And Vision here, on no health, survives and auto hits the turret. Then the flash gets him out of dodge. The thought process there from Rangitoto is correct. You want to be aggressive, push your limits, try and take everyone down. But the slight mistakes, and all it takes is one auto attack to go wide. And suddenly, the game is getting stalled out. Yes, it was still a decent trade for you, but when you're up this much gold, you don't want to take trades. That could have easily been the end of the game, and instead, Willetton staying alive.
2 members without Baron buff now. It was Somnus who really came out ahead again in that fight, but still 7-2-1 on the Varus. So at this point, even though you have a fed Urgot, let's compare mid lane with bottom lane. Still 5,000 between mid laners, but only 2,000 there between Peanut and Somnus.
Peanut has done exceptionally this series already.
Yeah.
First game, he was the real carry threat.
Following
Second
his predecessor,
game is exactly the same. Mushroom Zack here going on Somnus. That's not a fight you can win.
Yeah, Somnus actually might get him in the end. Good binding, lock him down. Unstoppable Onslaught held short. Girafo in off the side. White Pallet wants to get the pullback with the Abyssal Voyage coming in. Rangitoto following up this fight, but Vision there to lock them down. Rangitoto forcing forward, but look on the sideline. DK has found an inhibitor turret.
Bon Appetito might find Girafo here as well.
There's a Realm Warp. They're going to find him on the side. It goes dark for a second, but Fear Beyond Death, is it even needed? Somnus drops the jungler there of Willetton High School. The defense getting even harder.
Up in top lane, DK is also sieging an inhibitor as well. Soon, all 3 inhibitors will fall, if not the game at this point. Rangitoto sieging up everything.
Vivi on death has already missed, but there's the Impale back onto the Lissandra mid lane. They find one, locker in her place. Bon Appetito adds one to the list, but right now Rangitoto searching for that win. Peanut is barely alive. Somnus gets a Nexus kill, a fountain kill. Peanut's still there. Suddenly he's not. Another shutdown. Somnus is playing with his food here. Gives the last one to DK for good measure. And with that ace, they'll look to take game 2.
We were talking about Peanut and how strong he is, but look at Somnus. Over 300 CS, ahead of the clock at this point as well. 808, unstoppable.
The last Nexus turret will go down. The Nexus is there. There is nothing Giraffe can do. One more game to make it perfect sweep. And New Zealand representing their region as they should.
Across the board, once again, not a single weak link from New Zealand. Yes, it wasn't as decisive as their quarters, as their semis run, but once they get control of a game, once they just take a big objective, might be the Baron, might just be a team fight, suddenly every decision they make looks like the right one. There's only small things you can look at, like that over-aggression in mid lane to fault them. Apart from that, this is a team that looks exceptional.
You see, Somnus was just looking happy. Like, Somnus was looking so comfortable. And I think this New Zealand squad, they're confident in their own abilities, and it is showing, even though there are some mistakes, there's some over-ambitious plays. But against WA, it's looking like it could potentially be a 3-0.
Yeah, well, it has to be said and qualified here. There are some mistakes because these are high school players. They want to show off. They want to go out there, be brash. You see Lemon Lord spamming laugh in the face of danger.
As you do.
It's not too surprising. But you look at Somnus, of course he's happy. He's played, 5 different champions now at this point. He's just showing off everywhere and every opportunity he's gotten. And I would not be surprised at this point for the next game to see New Zealand just pick essentially fun picks, whatever they want to pick at this point.
Well, at this point, though, you cannot underestimate Willetton because there has been
so
many points where they can claw their way back into the game.
Yep.
And it's just unfortunate they're not able to capitalize off of how big Peanut is. Peanut has been fed each and every game, but the issue is he's the only one. There's not enough peel for this virus, and he can't get into these fights and free hit.
It's as simple as, yes, he's getting strong, he's getting the kills, but he has no way to put that damage down.
Yeah.
Like I said in the game, you looked across the board of Rangitoto and you said to yourself, who can Varus readily go up to and hit? It was nobody. It was the support. And that was it. It was a very short list. Anyone else was suddenly a daunting challenge. And maybe it's the ADC choice. Perhaps if he's on Kai'Sa, he might feel more comfortable. But that being said, he's had that choice. He seems to prefer the Varus. And he's getting ahead, but it's just not ahead enough.
On that note, we've seen Varus, Morgana in the bottom lane, 2 games in a row now for Willetton. In the past, it has been that Sivir, the Varus, the Kai'Sa. We've seen Zyra banned out as a priority as well.
Yep.
Mushroom Zach still likes his spellcasters. He likes his mage bottom lanes, and that's what he's been trending towards. Maybe it change up in that bottom lane to change the tempo.
Well, I'll sit here and I look at it and I say to myself, yes, again, the draft wasn't the problem. It's not why they're losing. But at the same time, you might be able to make changes to make it a reason why you win. Instead of going in with a 50-50 chance, try and get that 60-40, try and get something that will surprise Rangitoto. Because right now, you tried the Lissandra, the Kayn, you did try and throw that curveball, but it wasn't enough. Perhaps go down to the bot lane. Maybe we see something like Heimerdinger. Go completely left field. Try something. You don't have Zyra. Fair enough. You've lost that spellcaster. Go to a different one.
See the priority of Urgot, maybe. I don't know if the top lane is going to change, but at the moment, Urgot being given over to New Zealand 2 times in a row there, T-Gun. Is it going to be a third? Well, we're about to find out. We're going to take a 5-minute break. When we return, game number 3, New Zealand taking on WA. And if you want to fight more about it, Tegan, then we'll take it to the schoolyard. Welcome back to the High Score League of Legends AU and NZ Championship. My name's Jake Sterix. This is Bradley Tegan Seymour. We were talking politics before, but now we're into Game 3. It's New Zealand representing their country. It's WA representing Australia. And now we're on the precipice of WA falling short.
Yeah, speaking of politics, I'm glad you finally accepted New Zealand as a country instead of a state.
Well, I mean, last time they were because they're coming through nationals and, you know, high school.
They didn't just change from a state to a country.
That's to be argued anyway.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Maybe a little bit later, Tegan. We can take it anytime you want. This is about the players here, Tegan. So get over your selfish desires to, you know, argue about New Zealand and let's start looking forward. After New Zealand's Game 2, I am confident in the way they're playing that they're able to recover if they fall behind in a deficit. These games, they haven't really fallen behind and had that deficit anyway. So at the moment, confidence again to be the key word to be used.
I would say cautious confidence, though. That it has been seen when they get a bit too aggressive, when they get a bit too hyphy. Western Australia are right there. They're ready to fight back. They're ready to take advantage of it. Every time there's a pick to be made, that's where they're ready to go. They're losing in the scaling game. They're losing in the split push game because Somnus has been picking split push champions. Jackson then Rise. The Kaiser, another scaling ADC being picked. So that's where they're falling behind. They're not generating enough of an early lead, but they are still being proactive.
And also that red side pick priority, which this time won't be an issue as Rangitoto are now blue side and Willetton have decided to go red side. So this is the first time they were actually seeing them on opposite sides of the rift. So maybe this changes things up because it's been that Morgana first pick. And on the red side, you see the Urgot always picked up and the Tahm Kench time and time again. They're from New Zealand.
Well, I look at those picks, the Urgot, the Tahm Kench, and neither one of those really jumps out as first pick worthy. Yes, you can make an argument for Urgot, and I knew you would. But I want to bring you back to Game 1.
Tahm Kench, yeah.
Urgot Game 1 was not impressive.
Well, it was a bit quiet, yeah.
A bit quiet. He didn't use his ultimate once successfully.
Okay.
But Game 2, yes.
The chains were on the screen like 4 or 5 times.
Game 2 was massive.
I love that, by the way.
From Bon Appetito. Game 2 was exactly what you expect from Urgot.
Bon Appetito did the Deleto. You know, it was
now,
great.
When you look at that from Western Australia's perspective, you have to say to yourself, this is something we can let through. However, I look at the Rise and I think to myself, that is not worth letting through.
I think Peanut's just taking the stress, taking all the
taking
frustrations. He's just fanning himself there. I mean, that's a good way to get ready. So, as a side note here as well, we actually do have the full roster, or the original roster that qualified, coming into this next match for Western Australia. So, Willow Andy back into the top side of the map, Vision to Clowns in the mid lane, and we still got Peanut and Zach in the bot.
Peanut and Mushroom Zach, it's impossible to split up a bottom lane duo once they're comfortable with each other. Peanut very clearly comfortable right now in the studio. But I want to bring you back to drafting here. Yes, it's going to be different because you have that different roster in, so obviously there's plenty of changes to be made.
Yeah.
But for me, when I look at New Zealand, if I'm Western Australia, I have to be expecting double scaling champions. Somnus always picks a scaling carry. He doesn't go for that early game champ. He doesn't try and blow people up. I wouldn't expect him to pick Lysandra.
He scales very early anyway. It doesn't matter.
To be fair, yes, that is true.
I mean, Rise, what do we have in the first game? We saw Jax mid. Like, these picks that are sometimes way far left. And then these other picks that are just pretty standardized, it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it was the Jax picked into Aurelia. So it wasn't like he blind picked Jax and just hoped for the best matchup and to get through and scale. It was a very calculated decision.
With Essence Reaver second.
But it's the exact same sort of playstyle is I'm going to carry in the late game. Yes, I might not win lane, even though he is. But his whole plan is come 15 minutes, come 20 minutes. Suddenly, no one can deal with me. And if Somnus somehow doesn't get that lead, you still have DK. You still have the Kaiser, the scaling ADC threat. Anytime someone lets Kaiser go through and picks something else as their ADC, in this case it's been Virus, you have to be thinking to yourself, we need to win this game inside 25 minutes. The longer it goes, the worse it will get.
But he's been so quiet this game so far. DK, who usually has the standout performance on this roster, has been mute. And this time, it's because the bottom lane of Willetton has been shutting them down, has had decent laning phases, but unable to translate that for the rest of their team. So at the moment, mid and top side seem to be the win condition that's coming through.
For me, that's a team issue.
And jungle.
You need your whole team to start playing around your bot side. With how strong Peanut and Mushroom Zach have looked, build around them. Go back to that old protect the ADC style.
Yeah.
Just build an augment team. Potentially go towards something like, and I know it's not his style, mind you. Mushroom Zach clearly likes being aggressive. Maybe look at Nami. Potentially Soraka,
But that makes
Karma.
sense. He's played Karma before. The Zyra's been in his repertoire. Like a mage, a spellcaster down on the bottom side is not beyond him. Nami definitely a possibility. Brand. To the brand.
No, so when I say
Or
Nami,
80
when
carry
I'm
brand.
saying these champions, I mean enhancement supports. You don't play them as he's playing these champions. He's playing Morgana and Zyra to be aggressive.
What's the point?
Well, the point is, you want to build around your ADC. He's the strong one on your team.
Yes.
He's the key player. He's the one that's been ahead 2 games in a row. Build around that. Go to your team and say, give him the ability to carry these games. Because right now, the team isn't doing that. He's getting ahead, but as a team, they're not enabling him.
And while a lot of people would be saying, Peanut, I want to see you on Lee Sin, well, you've got the wrong game, the wrong region, and really the wrong time zone. We look at Peanut and we say, Varus is great, but what else can you play? Zaya's been huge. Ezreal's been coming back in a massive way. New Ezreal that we haven't seen prioritized, banned, or even picked up.
Well, that's a huge risk. That's why it's just being led through. I doubt either team is really comfortable with it yet. It is a
Say that now.
significant change. The Zaya's been banned out multiple times as well, but if there is a time to bring out these random champions, essentially, right
Say
now
it.
would be it.
Thank you very much, Tegan. Let's jump into Game 3. Willetton Senior High School, Rangitoto College. I do not believe I have butchered the name this week. However, it has been a month since I've said it, and I hope I made someone in New Zealand proud. This is a chance to claim the best title here. The best high school, one of the best upstart players coming through here in the High School League of Legends AUNNZ Championship.
The best high school out of Australia and New Zealand. That's something to be proud of. You're representing your country right now. Both of these teams are.
Yeah.
Both of them have that on their back. That is an immense pressure on both teams. And New Zealand this whole time, I want to talk about pressure here, but they have never looked like they've been under pressure.
But also, you go beyond and you say these could be the players that we one day see in the OPL and the OCS as the final pick and ban phase. We wanted to see something different, and we got it from Willetton. They've taken away the Time Kench from Lemon Lord and the Brom.
I kind of wish that final ban was Rise, but already we see them starting to adapt, trying to force bot lane into something a little bit more explosive. Yes, you give up the Urgot again. Bon Appetito more than happy to take it, especially after that game 2. But you want bot lane to be where it all blows up. Force Rangitoto to be a little uncomfortable. I would love to see Galio picked here.
Yes.
And it is locked in.
Okay. We've talked about the Urgot. It's 3 times in a row. Rakan the change from Willetton to Clowns played beautiful Galio games coming through. 2 in the quarter and the semi-finals against South Australia and Victoria. And now with him back in the mid lane and the original roster that qualified, they're going back to what works and a change with the Rakan.
Now, I love this already. Galio, assuming it goes mid, it can easily flex between mid-top. It would be a real... It set the tone. It says, we want to fight elsewhere. Not in mid, probably bot lane. And that's where I want it to all go off. Get everyone down to the bot lane, play around Peanut. Game 1 and 2, he has been exceptional. Game 3, I can't see it changing very much, especially if he gets something comfortable again. Give him Varus or Kai'Sa here, and he'll be happy.
Well, the Nidalee was locked in once again, and White Palette looking to have a rinse and repeat of game number 1. However, it was banned away last time. This time, they're willing to take the Aatrox. Still a flex between the 2 roles, considering Aatrox can go top. Bon Appetito on the Urgot. He could potentially have that one, or Urgot goes mid.
We'll probably see them just go wherever either laner wants to go.
Do it. He does it. Tegan, I'm ready for a hype game 3 already. Look at the change in picks and bans. And Vision, much like the name. Oh, actually, it's kind of ambiguous in a way. Vision's going to pick up Lee Sin.
What do you mean ambiguous?
I mean, technically, Lee Sin doesn't have vision. He is a blind monk.
Yeah, so how is that
But he can also see all. I don't know. The word I was looking for was clever. Lee Sin locked in, and while T-Gun recovers, let's see what gets picked up into the bottom lane, because DK does not have Kai'Sa. Are you okay?
No.
It doesn't matter. T-Gun, I say great things all the time. You just got to bask in it. It's all good.
Back to the draft.
Yeah,
I love the
back to high
Kai'Sa
school,
ban. I need to focus on something. The Kai'Sa ban. Finally. I was thinking this should be picked ban from game 1. But they finally changed things up down in the bot lane. Lucian from Rangitoto as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see Varus follow on Rangitoto's side.
Ironic was the word. Sorry,
Thank
continue.
you. Finally, you've gotten there. On the side of Willetton, I would love to see another ADC ban. Really force everyone to dig deep. They banned Varus themselves. What is even left? Something like Siva, like you said before, and I was saying wasn't very likely, Ezreal as well. Also available. Maybe they even go outlandish.
Look how many 80 carry bans there have been. 5 80 carry bans across the span of this phase.
Here comes number 6. I guarantee it. No, Camille.
T-Gun.
I feel like if you were going to commit to ADC bans,
No house, no worries.
why not commit here?
Yeah.
Now you've given Willetton the pick of the best of the rest. And suddenly you just get whatever is left. Instead, you could have shaped what they take. Now, are you resting on something like potentially a mage bot? Do you bring back Swain? Ashe here for Willetton is locked in. Now, this is something that has been in the meta for quite some time internationally, but we never saw here in Oceania.
Ironically, in Korea, we've seen.
Yep.
So, Ashe is locked in for the first time ever here in the Oceanic season. I can't remember in the OPL if we saw once or twice, maybe from King. I don't think so. King has played it in the past, but this time, Willetton confident to pick that one up. Morgana was a counter lock-in, but we're looking for an 80 carry.
They were hovering for a moment there, the Ezreal. They wanted to do it.
What?
Morgana
We've got
bot lane.
We've got a Morgana Nami bottom lane.
I love this. If I was thinking what is left that hard counters Ashe.
Yeah.
Black Shield for her ultimate is wonderful. I can't imagine they're going to win this lane. The pressure that's going to come off Willetton is going to be immense. But suddenly you have a very defensive lane, something that can react to dives well. Obviously, you would prefer something like Braum or Tahm Kench, but they were removed instantly in the first round.
Okay. This makes perfect sense. So now, we have not seen a Galio Shen composition in a very long time. Willetton this time in their draft phase. This makes much more sense. I think this is their best draft yet.
I agree. This is everything I was hoping for from Willetton. They are building and playing around Peanut. They've given him a scaling carry. They've got exceptional peel and defense for him when it comes to the mid-late game. All that Peanut has to worry about is, am I in execute range from Urgot? If he stays out of that execute range, he can easily get through every member from the New Zealand squad.
All they have to do is protect Peanut in this game. Game number 3, now on the Ashe. 2 games of Varus in a row. They ban it away, and they take this 80 carry that even the OCS and OPL players would not touch. They didn't feel confident on it. They didn't want to turn the composition around it. And now finally, out of the high school finals, the League of Legends AU and NZ Championship brings us a Game 3 with higher than ever expectations with its first Ashe in the Oceanic region.
I just have to say right now, coming into this game, you would have expected New Zealand to be the favorite for this third game. Their Game 1, Game 2 performances have been great. But Game 3, they finally have adapted.
Yeah.
We were saying before the series started, it's a best of 5. Adapting, changing your drafts is such a massive thing that you need to do. And this Game 3 draft is great.
And this is what I wanted to see out of the players from Willetton. They look confident. They look happy to go into Game 3, a comp that's so much easier to execute. They've got the early game insurance in Vision. The Lee Sin comes out finally, and as we hop onto the rift for game number 3, let's see if Willetton can start this reverse sweep and take it to New Zealand here as WA looking to hold strong for Australia.
It's all going to matter. It's all on Peanut's head. A lot of pressure there for him. Starting with the Doran shield. Now, there's a lot of poke that comes out of the Morgana and the Nami, but there also isn't a whole lot of sustain in that lane in terms of how long they can keep up the poke. The Morgana's mana pool is not very big.
Yeah.
You have to expend so much to keep the wave shoved, to keep poking down your opponent. So as long as Peanut and Mushrooms that can weather that early storm, they can start taking control.
Now, we do have to do some stock taking because on the rift you can see got some pretty basic runes, or sorry, masteries, I should say. At the moment, pretty much looking at the Clowns, who's taken Aftershock, which is pretty much standard at the moment for Galio mid, but a lot of tanky ones there as Guardian as well from Rakan.
This is definitely a top 5 skin in the game, by the way.
You reckon?
Yeah, without a doubt.
It's a good-looking chicken.
Without a doubt.
Golden chicken, by the way. I tell you what, whoever came up with Fast Food Galio, no, what's the skin called? I don't know. Fast Food Galio is probably not the name of the skin. That's how I call it. But we do see, to bring us back on track, the Aatrox in the mid lane, Urgot in the top side, so really just kind of going in pick order there. But the Morgana and Nami bot, I think this is where our eyes will be, because the Ashe was a big enough pick, but this itself could be risky.
Well, my eyes aren't even just on the bot lane. Of course, the duos are exciting. The Ashe, the Morgana, wonderful pickups for us to see. But there won't really be that much active down... Hold on.
Oh, hang on. There might be. Vision over the wall gets landed with a spear. White Pallet flashes in. A good reverse flash from Vision to get out.
White Pallet once again. He's in there at level 2.
Lemon Lord is level 1, though. There's a quick trade there from Mushroom, Zach, and Peanut.
Now, back to what I was trying to say is we won't see that much activity in this bot duo lane until, at least for Willetton's side, Galio and Shen hit level 6. You've built this game plan, you've built this composition around getting level 6 and starting a party in one of the lanes. Get everyone together, utilize your team comp, your efficient team fighting. We've seen over the course of this series how good Willetton are as a team in these fights. Until they hit level 6, they should not try and overstep their bounds.
But before then, it'll still be eyes on the jungle if we're not looking at the bottom side. Double scuttle here from White Pallet. And this Nidalee once again finds an early way into the game. Willow Andy has stuck around for a little bit too long as the javelin toss will miss.
Unsurprising for White Pallet here, he can happily sit in this bush. With how the wave has been set up, Bon Appetito has set up this freeze essentially. All you're doing is stalling out Willow Andy.
This time though, Tegan, I'm going to take your attention away. I'm sorry. Vision for the first time in 3 games has gotten both of his buffs.
He's gotten both of his buffs.
It's important.
However, he got chased down in his own blue side. Then he's had to run top, go straight to the buff, while White Pallet has visited lanes and impacted for his team already.
But both flashes were burnt. So looking at it optimistically as Bon Appetito actually pushing Willow Andy out is on equal ground. Both of these junglers, that is. Walking into the mid lane, you can see an early back already from Somnus. And he's just going to walk all the way through to Clowns. Use his TP, so happy to go back there.
White Pallet still hasn't recalled here, and Vision has, so he has a little bit of tempo here. But how to use that is the big question. Willow Andy up here could bait in Bon Appetito. Vision is just a stone's throw away. And the Shen Taunt is such a reliable CC. All he has to do is keep enticing Bon Appetito, try and catch this wave, wait for it to be chunked down, and here he goes.
And he just puts down the field that negates all the damage. Bon Appetito, one auto flashes away. Vision's here, but there's no flash. Ward hops there. Sonic Wave misses. White Pallet's nowhere nearby for the counter gank. Bon Appetito gets out alive.
Willow Andy didn't commit. That's the big difference there. I'm sure he wasn't expecting that final turret shot to land. It was right at the end, but instead it does, and Bon Appetito, he is exceptionally lucky there to escape with his life.
Suddenly that top lane, though, spices up just a little bit. No summoners there on the Urgot. Unsealed Spellbook lane. Willow Andy can expect Vision maybe to come back top. Double longsword on the back there as well. White Pallet, I think he's now backing for the first time. As he'll pick up, yes, upgraded into... Okay, Hunter's Potion there for Nidalee. That was a bit unexpected, but it happened.
Oh, they don't have a lot of gold yet. It's their first backs of the game. You're not really going to be finishing anything here. Right now, it's still just you're building up tempo. Up on the top side, you burnt the flash of Urgot. Could have been more. But at the same time, I wasn't expecting more until level 6 from the Shen or the Galio.
Well, barbecue chicken right here. Going to be just trying to walk away and get reverse trades. Justice Punch with Shielded Duran. Vision's coming in. This is an opportunity. Level 4 on the Lee Sin. The turn from Summonus available, but Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike. It's going to come through. Galio there with the Winds of War. The Nidalee Spear misses there from White Pallet, and that'll just stop everything.
Good reaction there from Willetton. The second they saw Nidalee on that ward, they backed out. They didn't try and overcommit, go for the kill on the Aatrox, this time paying respect. They know their win condition is get level 6 and utilize the globals.
White Pallet is still moving around this map though. This is an issue. Somnus able to withstand that 2v1 for a very long time. And at this point, White Palette keeps on getting resources. So there's still control around the map, and Rangitoto just through CS leads have a 600 gold lead on the board.
Well, this was to be expected. You built a comp that plays globally at level 6. You know you have to make some concessions early on.
There's the Black Shield, slowed down. The Ignite is not there, but back in goes Vision. Hoy! Mushroom Zach forces the flash out of Lemon Lord, but boy, oh boy, that's a Lee Sin. Vision's so happy about it.
Look at him on his player cam. He knows. He knows. That was the Lee Sin syndrome. That was, I hit my Q, I've got to go.
I think it's pronounced Lee Syndrome, but yeah, I agree. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, Bon Appetito still has the ultimate available. Willow Andy getting better trades up off here. You can see with this base roster, it's looking a lot better. White Palette might want to go in here, but is he going to die because of it? Brought back in, there's the shield. Somnus actually walks up as well and nets himself first blood.
I was expecting Willetton High School to be the ones making those map rotations, getting proactive, but it is actually Rangitoto getting that top dive. They will get the turret as the follow-up, and the answer right now is only looking like red buff. Clowns and Vision need to link up and dive bot lane here.
Well, it looks like it's happening. Vision still level 5, so no kick available. The dive's there, arrow lands, no black shield. Here comes Galio, Hero's entrance there. Lemon Lord, everyone gets knocked up. Perfect dive, shield of Durant. It's Willow Andy who comes in the end. 5 members in the bot side. First turret has already been taken.
They finally get the answer. Now they need even more. Maybe Dragon is what they finally settle on, but the first turret is gone. You get the double kill. Still just doesn't feel like enough for me. You've brought everyone down here. You just used all those big cooldowns. Shen ultimate, Galio ultimate, both gone. And you only came away with 2 kills and a Cloud Drake.
They're walking as a 5-man unit mid, though. They're going to take this kill if it's available. Remember, ult not available for Somnus. Mushroom Zach misses, but will force the flash out. The Aatrox still getting chased away. Knocked up. Mushroom Zach way too deep in here. Somnus will not take the kill, but apparently the kick will work out. Shield of Durant, everything landing here. The re-engage comes through from White Palette, but Willow Andy with the front line. They already pick up the Ergon, and for Willetton High School, they've done enough to get the kill and get themselves out.
Once again, as a 5-man unit, they find these picks, they find these kills. Vision with a great play to get Bon Appetito into his team there. But once again, it's not on an objective. It's just off where they need to be there. They're not taking towers. They're not pressuring for a Dragon or a Rift Herald there. They were just up there to start a fight. Mind you, it worked. They got the fight they wanted. But on the back of that, they have to reset. They lose bot tower health, and they lose mid tower health, which isn't what should happen when you win a fight.
Still pretty close. Rangitoto 1k gold ahead after everything's said and done. Vision has 2 kills, but still not up on White Palette. That first turret blood holding strong here for New Zealand.
You say still not up, but the only person that matters on Willetton High School in terms of gold is Peanut, and he is ahead. He is the one where their hopes and dreams rest on. If Peanut gets ahead, the team gets ahead. That's how you view this game.
Okay.
So when they hit that 15-minute mark, that 20-minute mark, once Ash starts getting 1, 2, 3 items, that's when it starts mattering.
Ooh, arrow a little bit wide there from Willetton. As it looks like they're trying to lock down Somnus, who doesn't have a flash, but the World Ender back up and available. Willow Andy very far pushing this top side.
Aatrox coming in here, and Willow Andy, I think he knows he's not long for this world. At this point, you just try and buy as much time as you can.
He flashed away from the ultimate. What's happening on the other side? The bottom side getting dove, misses away from the spear. Looking to buy as much time as T-Gun said. Willow Andy will go down, but look at the bottom side. Still trying to force the play, but they haven't found anything yet.
There is dive potential here. No flash for either member. Lee Sin's there. Galio now tracking down as well.
Vision kicks him into DK. 2-man kick here. Hero's entrance is available, but hasn't used it just yet. Vision at half health. The Clowns flashes over for the Winds of War. Snipes down Lemon Lord and says, I'll take my sashimi to go.
Vision playing exceptionally on this Lee Sin. Wonderful kick there to get the 2-person knock-up. We were saying before it even started, this is a pick that you need to be aggressive on. You need to be the flashy player. And so far, it's paying off. However, the kill doesn't go to Ash. every time I look at these plays, I'm looking at Peanut and saying, what does he gain from this? How is he getting ahead? Because your goal as Willetton is get Peanut into that late game. And right now, it's happening, but a little too slowly for my liking.
Well, Blade of the Ruined King has been picked up, so there's still that item advantage. Mushroom Zach looking for Somnus, but he'll just leap out of the way. The spear again lands, but the Clown's getting tanky enough with the Zhonya's in the making.
Last game, Nidalee Spears. Sorry, when we saw the Nidalee last,
Yeah.
when the Spears landed, they were chunking people for half their health.
They were?
That spear there hit Galio. I didn't see his health move. It stayed exactly where it was.
I mean, it is a Galio, but I understand what you're saying.
Now, last time we saw Nidalee, it was so dangerous. You were all worried, and now suddenly you have that front line. You have someone to just sit there and catch the spears out of the air, Scorpion King style. Willetton. I just love this comp they've drafted. I want to see Peanut get active. You have that first item. They need to start grouping and taking objectives instead of just taking kills.
Well, I mean, Vision trying to make something across the map as he finds Bon Appetito once again, kicks him back. Fear Beyond Death is available. Will it go into anyone? Bon Appetito can't find the damage. Vision gets it into Willow Andy. That means this is going to be a kill. Bon Appetito, you're about to go delicto, running for his life. Willow Andy won't find it. Vision will. Cripples there. Takes the 1v2. Almost takes Vision. The Lee in with his third.
Once again, it was all about buying as much time. Once he got caught by Vision, another great kick. Here they go on Nami.
Peanut, there's a lot of damage there with Blade of the Ruined King. The charm's there, but the tsunami comes through.
He's dead.
Peanut will eventually get it with the help of Zach. Willow Andy, just for good measure.
The Ignite ticks down. The last tick gets him. And now that bot turret is finally going to fall. The objectives are coming. The dive on Galio is not an easy one.
Punch, Somnus there, getting low, has to use the World Ender. The Clowns will die, but the World Ender being burned through. Now mid-turret, that's in serious pressure.
Mushroom Zach is looking to kill the Aatrox on his own here in mid.
There's fights across the front, mid lane and bottom lane. The chase is there, the flash forward. Willow Andy sacrifices his life for Peanut. What a good guy. That's the boyfriend you want to find. Willow Andy running for his life. And although he is father material right now, he won't be doing anything with that dead body. Zach goes a bit too far forward in the mid lane as well. White Pallet dies to the turret. He just face palms after that as well.
Well, he got the kill. It's a trade. Yes, you hate dying, but at the end of the day, you still come out along. You still come out ahead. And through all of that, again, Peanut picking up kills and assists. You look at all of this sort of Fiesta gameplay where it's fights everywhere. Look at mid here. Vision and Mushroom Zach trying to get the kill on White Pallet, trying to rectify what happened in mid earlier. But instead, White Pallet here gives the kill to Ash.
Yeah,
that's why he was face palming. He was thinking to himself, why didn't I just die to turret here? Gold on Rakan doesn't matter, but gold on Peanut does.
Definitely does. 2-0 and 3 right now. Mushroom Zach making plays here. The grand entrance to go forward. Somnus right now 1-0-2. So even though Somnus hasn't had a very loud game, he's still progressing forward with the rest of his team.
I have to say as a side note, I love how Mushroom Zach has been playing this Rakan. He has been so aggressive at every opportunity. I'm not even going to mention that, by the way.
That was a tidal wave for blue buff. And you were saying, T-Gun, wait, let's pause once again. Zach looking for Lemon Lord, the bubble on him, the charm there as well. Vision wants the kick, but the engage comes through. The grand entrance forces the flash. Look how versatile this comp is. Look how global Willetton are being.
It's global, it's versatile, you're correct, and they're getting things done, but at the same time, it's a 5v3 right now. And Rangitoto is still defending. 3v5 against the composition that Willetton have built should not be possible. But instead, Urgot is split pushing happily in top. Bot lane, DK is pushing it as well. And now Rift Herald is in mid. Willetton are being pushed in all three lanes when they should be the global team.
Going to get a free charge off. Nothing going to happen but to watch it burn. First out of turret going. Vision, look at him on the side. Hits a minion. Won't be able to do anything with that Sonic Wave. Rift Herald a second charge, but this one won't take the inner turret down.
Just one turret there for Rift Herald is a trade that Willetton would be happy to make, but they can't let Bon Appetito sit up here and hit this turret.
He has ult, remember. Willow Andy, has he fallen a little bit too low? Running away, Fear Beyond Death will expire as Vision kicks the Urgot back into his shotgun knees. White Pallet comes on in. One more spear needed on both members. Vision flashes in for the kick, misses the cripple there. White Pallet claws him across, and Willow Andy Good dodging mechanics.
Here comes Somnus.
White Palette has to be careful. Somnus still coming in through the turret range. Cleans up that Shen. And boy, action across the map now on the top side.
Top turret is soon to fall, and Peanut and Mushroom Zach just nowhere to be found. Once again, your game plan is to win through Peanut. He needs to be in these fights. He needs to be reacting quickly, rotating proactively. And instead, he isn't there. It's Vision, it's Willow Andy. Yes, they got the kill on Bon Appetito, but that was it.
Can I just say, Vision has not stopped smiling the whole time.
Why wouldn't he?
He's having a ball.
Of course he is. Are you seeing how he's playing?
He's going absolutely to the wall right here. He's 30 CS behind, but 4 kills, keeping pace with White Palette. And he's been everything here in the engages to set up Peanut.
He's down gold, but if you've ever played Lee Sin, you know that that doesn't matter at this point. You are going to transition into essentially being a kickbox. When you get into that mid-game, that late-game team fights, that is your whole goal, is kick a priority target into the fight and let your team dismantle them. Vision's goal in this team comp is also going to be get into the backline and let Galio get in on top of him.
Well, Somnus may be biting off a little bit too much again, but Zach sticks around all the way back to Willow Andy. This Aatrox is getting too big for his britches. I would say that, but his britches are pretty damn big. 2-0 and 2 at this point, and the mid laner of Rangitoto looking confident again in his third game.
Starting a fight here around Dragon is going to be Willetton's goal. You see Rangitoto, look at how condensed they are in this pit. Just too slow from Willetton. Didn't get there in time, but that is the sort of terrain they want to be fighting in. A real condensed area where all of your big AoEs can impact everyone.
Zach getting chased down. Somnus pops the Youmu's there. Ultimate from Willow Andy onto the Galio. 2-man there, stunned. Vision is dead on the other side of the map. Fear Beyond Death is going to get the fear. Willow Andy back to his turret, but there's nothing he can do. The chains launch across your screen. Bon Appetito knows that he's delaying the inevitable. A double kill for the Urgot to bring him right back in the game.
And once again, my question is, where is Peanut? You cannot fight without him. You need to make some concessions instead of trying to defend everything. And instead, 3 people go down and the Ashe isn't active in these fights. And now this second tier turret is soon to follow.
Forces the flash. White Palette comes in off the back as well. 5 members strong. Wilson getting forced out again.
Look for an Ashe arrow here on the back of people's recalls. That is what Willetton need. They need to find someone as they're trying to evacuate. Get something off the back of this. Because right now, that was a huge swing for Rangitoto.
Need to make a risk. Ashe arrow goes wide. It actually hits someone, but no one's in position. They don't know Bon Appetito's there. Mushrooms are caught by surprise. Can they turn this fight? Heroic entrance. Look at Vision from the side. Sonic Wave misses there. Wins the war for the damage. Willow Andy trying to flank as well. Bon Appetito flashes away. The chase continues.
This 3-man is caught between a rock and a hard place. Willow Andy is below them to Clowns and Peanut in front of them.
Taunt available. DK and Lemonal running for their life. They turn onto White Palette instead. They want the singular pick. It's going to be up to Peanut to finish it off. One more hit, but on the other side, Fear Beyond Death again. And it looks like Willetton are coming so close, but they're not trading off.
They did get the shutdown there, and the goal went over to Peanut, as well as the Magi stacks being removed. So all hope is not lost here. Once again, Peanut is getting strong out of all of this. I look at that gold lead and I say to myself, 6.5k, yes, it's a big number, fair enough.
It is a big number.
But Peanut is still coming out with enough strength to make it all work.
Well, look at this one again.
Vision caught out on his own, White Palette deleting someone, and now here, Galio and Shen had no right to be here trying to take a fight. Galio was caught between his towers, which fair enough is pretty crappy, but you don't need to burn the Shen ultimate. You don't need to try and commit and stop them from getting that kill. Sometimes you need to let the person who got caught out simply let them go.
Well, Bon Appetito has gotten his fair share of kills from those fights. He was behind by 0 and 2, I think. Now 3, 3, and 4. He's caught all the way back up. And every single member from Rangitoto in a pretty decent position here. At the moment, Willow Andy sufficiently behind. 2,000 gold. The jungle as well. That's almost 3,000 gold alone.
You look at that and you say they're behind their matchups.
Mid's huge, T-Gun. 4,000, continue.
But I still look at Peanut and I say to myself, he is getting strong enough to put the team on his back. They've built for this. Their whole game plan is to pile in, peel Peanut, and let him do work. He now is at 2 items. There isn't a single person on Rangitoto that is going to be strong enough to tank him forever. The only one that can really do that right now is the Urgot. Everyone else will melt once Peanut's hitting them.
Defining moment here for Rangitoto as they approach the inner turret in the mid lane. Willetton struggling to defend. Peanut gonna get hit by a spear if he's not careful, but they turn. This is what they needed. Pick potential's there. Mushroom Zack starts it. Peanut's locked down, so the damage stops for a second, but the pick of White Pallet could be good to stay.
They could potentially go on Bon Appetito here as well. He gets
look for the
flipped
flash. Here comes the Stand United onto Vision, but look at the back. Peanut has no protection. Somnus comes in. Great save there from Mushroom Zack. With the resurrection coming through, World Ender's off. Peanut is out of position, but the rest of the team have enough damage. Bon Appetito's there. He's already used the ultimate. He'll go down, and this is the fight for Willetton.
Someone needs to stop DK, but the rest of the team should be running to Baron right now. There is no reason to not try and take an objective off the back of this. You just got 3 massive kills. You have 26 seconds and counting to get on this before Urgot is available.
That's
with
double TP. This is double TP coming through. It was to Clown for some reason. It looked like it was one, but doesn't matter. Willetton have started up the Baron.
The only person here to defend is Nami. Morgana is now coming as well, but is that enough?
Somnus is not up and alive. Nami finds a one-man bubble. It's onto the Shen in the pit. DK launches himself. Peanut, he goes golden. The Baron getting low. The hero's entrance onto Peanut. Stolen away again. Can Willetton find the fight? Zack will get the stun up. It's only Ash to die. A shutdown again. Bon Appetito's coming in. Willow Andy trying to stop him. Fear Beyond Death is locked on and available. Or about to be. Mushroom Zack making the run. It's Urgot versus 4 people. They're going to turn on him as they should. Somnus is back in, but can he save his top laner? Looks like not quite. The Clowns lives on because of the death. The 3 versus 1. Somnus happy to take it. In again. Aatrox finds one. Pops a World Ender. And everybody falls beneath the wrath of the Titan. A triple kill for Somnus.
At the end of it all, the only thing that really matters is Somnus has Baron. Rangitoto got Baron in the midst of all of that. DK went in essentially as a sacrifice to stall it out, buy time for his team. They get the Baron, which was what Willetton needed to stay in this game. DK here with a massive ultimate locks down the damage out of Peanut. The Galio ultimate is too little too late, and Peanut is dead. He is gone. And as this fight keeps going on, you said it's only Peanut to die. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again in this game, Peanut is the team right now. Once he is dead, this fight is over. Just get out. Yes, you can turn and get the Urgot, but that cleanup for Somnus was easy. He was always going to take the 1v4 into the 1v3, into the 1v whatever was left.
Somnus finds himself 3 more kills, a 3rd item. Vision right now. There's no White Pallets in there. He'll spot him out eventually. He's getting closed in on. Has nowhere to go. Not good here for the jungler. Kicks back the other one. White Pallet. The 1v1 doesn't come through. Maybe it could have made a difference, but this is going badly for Willetton.
It's only going to get worse at this point. 30 seconds on Lee Sin should mean an inhibitor turret falls. You have Baron. You are threatening enough to walk forward. The only thing to be wary of is getting through that choke point before Galio can get active.
And spears are landing. The damage is coming through, and everything's getting a little bit dicey. The Baron buff going to help through. Somnus wants to take down Peanut. He has the flash. The Clown's the next target. Looks like the fight is there. Fear Beyond Death finds one for the Fear. Willow Andy goes down, and it looks like Willetton have just lost everything in one play. The arrow does nothing, and Rangitoto are looking at 3-0.
Peanut could not get active there with Baron. That is it. Unless Visions pulls off a miracle, and I mean a miracle, this will be the end for Willetton.
The composition made so much sense. We talked it up. Willetton struggling against New Zealand. And right now, people asking, is Australia or New Zealand better? Right now, it looks like New Zealand are the place to be, if that makes sense. The kick is back, but what else can be done? Mushroom Zack, the last member alive. That won't be enough. The Nexus is under fire. And for the high school League of Legends AUNZ Championship, the winner with a 3-0 will be Rangitoto College from New Zealand.
Undefeated the whole way through. For good reason. Not a single weak link on the team. every member a carry threat, and they proved it today.
What dominant play coming today. Somnus as well has to be talked up like every game, but then there's White Pallet, the steal in Baron. Do you look at, DK, who pretty much had that multi-man binding in the pit? It's hard to go wrong with anyone from NZ.
You look at the whole team, and you
anyone.
just say all 5 of them have been solid the whole way through. Each time, each game, you might be able to point out a member per game and say, didn't have a crash hot game.
Yeah.
But anytime someone faltered, the rest of the team was there to pick them back up, to push them over the line. And then the next game, they were the ones to really carry the team.
It's incredible how you can put a team together for a tournament. Like, you got to remember that we came together, a month and a half ago for these guys. Now, I don't know how long they've been playing together, but people like Somnus, who I believe was playing from a hospital at one point, we had, the whole New Zealand squad just came through and charged through the competition in the same way that WA did, but it just showcases the macro of some of these teams.
I have a question for you here.
Please.
Is this a precursor for League of Origin?
Whoa. What, that New Zealand will win this year? Well, I don't want to say. New South Wales look pretty darn strong, I'm just saying. I wish WA were in it. I'm saying that as well. I think Cyclone would be sitting at home saying, that's right, boys. That's right. This is the precursor. I think right now you'd look at New Zealand and you'd say, look, there's a lot of talent coming out of the region.
Without a doubt. They've always had some strong players as well. We look at Lost, someone who played in the OPL and now plays in the NALCS. And always had strong players. They're proving they still have strong players yet to come. Winning the high school league here, probably a future OPL player in that team.
I mean, we've had New Zealand players make the climb before. Apparently, Shock started in high school, as we all do, but climbed his way up from high school to the OCS and then to the OPL in what was an upsetting roster throughout this last OPL split, taking down some of the top dogs. So there are so many opportunities, and for these high school players to make the gap and to get into a team, an organization like the OCS. You guys know what I'm saying. Is kind of the next step now, because you've proved yourself in your high school and throughout Australia and New Zealand. Now it's progressing forward when you get older to launch yourself into the OCS.
At the end of the day, they get to go home and they get to say they represented their country and did them proud.
Not state. Don't
3-0. I never said that.
No, that's all right, Diggin. You probably did. 3-0. Now, let's break this down a little bit more because there's a lot I want to talk about and kind of divulge. The compositions coming out of New Zealand felt similar a lot of the times.
Yep.
The change in Aatrox pick maybe, kind of
Still a
deformed
carry.
it a little bit. Yeah,
Still a carry. That's all that mattered was they gave Somnus a carry that can scale. They did the same for DK, but maybe not so much in the third game.
DK had
with
a
the
quiet
Morgana.
series, and I don't think that kind of talks down to him. It
No,
says that the rest of the map were so controlled.
Every now and then, even if you are as good as DK is, you need to recognize, okay, the mid lane, the top lane, they're doing well. I don't need to take risks. I can sit back and let my team just dictate the pace of the game, slowly farm up, and still be a threat. And that's what he was doing.
But in terms of compositions for the side of WA, then we say, look, games 1 and 2 were pretty stock standard. It was just a bit of a trouble. I like how they changed things up in game 3. Again, showing that adaptation. It was also a composition that made a lot of sense. It was just unfortunate that they got caught out.
I loved their composition in game 3. I think it finally suited how they were playing. Peanut was the big threat in every game. Even in game 3, he was still the big threat. By the time it was all said and done, it was just they fell a little bit too far behind. And with a composition like they had, you either win or lose. There's no real leeway. There's no real outplay potential when it comes down to the 20, 25-minute mark. It's all about, can Peanut stand there and hit people, or will the Aatrox with the Black Shield just run him down?
And at the end of the day, it was New Zealand who made Australia look bad. No, Australia didn't look bad. Australia's always great. For WA, congratulations for making this far. But for Rangitoto, congratulations for the championship here. It is a big honour to take, and at 3-0 at that, they looked pristine. A big thank you to T-Gun and all our production staff behind the set. Thank you so much for 2018. I believe this is officially it. We're going to League of Origin there to be friends. Tegan and I are going to have a biff behind the set while the casters, do their thing. We'll hopefully see you there, or even at the World screening. There is so much going on. Get tickets, get tickets, get tickets. We'll see you next year for more action. Thank you again.